So he's going to go down to Super Gale Ken. But Ken. There we go. Lay and that's five. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday. My name is JC Yeso McDonough. I am joined by my very good friend Shane Seal Erickson, returning to the desk after a few weeks hiatus, and we are ready to go with some more late night league action as we kick off week 4.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. It's been a few weeks since I've been here, but always ready for some more late night league action.
Yeah, miss you. Glad to have you back. Certainly was fun working with Sabriel and Kathy. You will see more of Sabriel later this season, so do not worry. You will return to the desk in the future. But we are kicking off the night with some Central Region action. We've got indeed the top team in Late Night League Season 3 who has won all 3 weeks so far of the Central Region. So they're sitting, as you saw in the standings just a few moments ago, with 30 points, a solid lead. And they've got a game against Blaze It Up Zach here to kick off our broadcast. Should be a very interesting one based on the draft. You guys will see a little bit more about what we're talking about there, but it should be an interesting game, to say the least.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. One of the teams has what could be considered a bit of a troll draft, but honestly, it actually could work in theory.
It's a legitimate strategy.
It's a legitimate draft here. They have 5 supports, actually, on their roster. It's Bard top.
Yep.
They got, who's the jungle?
It's Tarek.
Jungle. Yes, Tarek jungle. That's interesting. Zillion mid. It's Sona and Pike bot lane, rather.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a very spicy matchup, I could imagine. But
Yeah.
their opponents, I actually like the opponents' draft really well. I think Blaze It Up Zach, they have a really good bot lane draft. They have Ashe and Malphite. That's just an extremely strong all-in at level 6. So
Yeah.
it could, perhaps trump that, all support comp that we have on the side of Indeed, but it's just going to depend on how the game goes.
Yeah, we'll see how things shake out once we get into that game. So we should kick into that right about now. Ready for the action to start Late Night League week number 4. It's interesting looking at the draft, as the first 3 picks were the Pike, Tarek, and the Zillion. And the interesting thing is you look at that draft early and you're like, nothing looks amiss here, right? Zillion, not necessarily a top tier mid laner, but, hey, he can still go mid, go to support a little bit. There's some fun things there. Obviously, Pike, ton of flexibility there. Yeah, we are going to throw to the format and standings right now, give you a little more information here. Right there up on your screen, you can check out how things shake out depending on the teams that we get every week. And the point distribution, very important there, as we mentioned, with the 30 points for Indeed. That means they've taken first place all of the first 3 weeks. And we do have to remind all of our teams, it's important to keep coming back, because obviously you can continue to garner points as long as you keep placing in the top 4. And then those last 2 weeks, extremely important, week 6 and 7, you can get double points and really shake up the standings there at the end of the season.
Yeah, if you could start to catch up now, those last 2 weeks, you could see yourself catapulting from, maybe middle of the pack all the way up to first place. So definitely want to stay in for the entire duration of the tournament and hope those last 2 weeks go in your favor.
Definitely worthwhile, and can never forget that there's cash on the line every week, of course, and that's always something good to play for if you can nab that first place spot. We are going to throw over to the standings here as well to check those out one more time. There are your central standings. Ferocious Virgins, the only team so far that is really challenging Indeed in terms of standings, but we do have to mention, if you watched the broadcast last week, Cloud Gaming, the first team to truly challenge Indeed this season on the Rift, taking Indeed to a very long 45-minute game that looked very scary from about 15 to 30 minutes. Cloud Gaming really had control, weren't able to close it out. You can credit that maybe a little bit of an experience with each other, and obviously playing against a very good team who knows how to win games. So interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on Cloud Gaming throughout the rest of the season, see if maybe they're a team that can, fall into place in the macro department, and maybe they're a team that can challenge Indeed in those later weeks.
Yeah, and if I'm correct, last week was their first showing late night league, right? Yeah, so already a pretty impressive performance in their first time in the tournament. If they decide to come back and get some more synergy together with their teammates, they could definitely challenge for that top spot, especially with those double points in those last 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely worthwhile. Definitely want to see more from Cloud Gaming later in the season. There are your Western standings as well. A lot tighter here at the top, just 9 points separating first and third place, and even fourth place Titan Gaming is sitting at 9 points themselves. So really seems wide open in the West. Alab certainly has been the most impressive team early on, but Grizzly Gaming and AHS Black are hot on their heels, so we'll have to keep a very close eye on the Western region this week and next as we lead farther into the season. One thing we do have to mention, Peaked High School, a team that we've seen flashes of brilliance from before, but sitting in 7th place at 3 points, they can certainly close that gap. One first place really shifts the standings extremely, so we'll have to see if they can get some momentum going and maybe move their way up the standings, but should be fun to keep an eye on the West as well. Definitely the closest race that we have in Late Night League this season.
Definitely almost all those teams within 1-2 weeks of each other. If they can pick up that first place win, that's 10 points. That's going to get them right up in the top of the standings, even if they're already down in the lower parts.
Yeah, and one thing we'll have to mention, as you already said, those double points, when the race is so close, that just heightens the importance of week 6 and 7, because if you can hit your stride kind of around week 5 and then you come into week 7, 6 and 7 and you're really peaking, then it's really scary, because all of a sudden you can pick up 20 points one week, maybe you pick up 14 the next, or no, I think it's 6 and then 3, so you could pick up like 12. So those later weeks become extremely important with how tight that race is. But yes, we are on to the Rift now, Indeed on the blue side with that 5 support composition. I'm so happy to see the Bard even going to the top lane there for Korean Banana and Blaze It Up Zach, a team that certainly has their work cut out for them against Indeed, but we'll see. As you said, I like the draft as well. Good level 6 from the bottom lane. Good level 6 all around. They have some great map mobility. Obviously, you can have the Fiora and the TF coming down to bottom lane once they hit that level 6. Could make things interesting, so we'll have to keep an eye on the map movement for the team on the red side. Early invade from Indeed. They're not going to find anything here as Blaze It Up Zach goes for the invade on Indeed's blue side.
And they actually have the Malphite going on the red side too, so that they're going to get wards in on both sides of the jungle. They're going to know exactly where Polo Bear rather is starting on the Taric, and that's going to be one thing to look for in this matchup. Is Taric has a very slow clear compared to Rek'Sai, so I'm looking for Super Kaioken to really target this early game, see if he can get himself snowballed ahead, perhaps impact his lanes, because it's going to be a while before Polo Bear can really be impactful with the rest of his team.
Yeah. Kuntlocker there staying fairly far forward there to try and protect the Rek'Sai on that invade, ensure that Super Kaioken doesn't get pressured while taking the blue buff here. The interesting thing is, Morshoes throws that bomb out, but it doesn't seem like Indeed quite has the intel here that Blaze It Up Zach went for the full invade. They may just think that the TF stepped forward for some vision to maybe spot out the start of the Inti jungler. So there's a possibility for a 3 buff here. It'll just depend on if Polar Bear goes for vertical jungling. If he does, then that means he knows about the invade. If not, this could be a really interesting start for Super Kaioken. And, you know, when you're looking for advantages here is, the TF taking a lot of damage, forced to heal in the mid lane. One more auto attack. He's burning. He flashes away. It's way too late, though. And Morshoes with first blood.
You can't flash away from that auto. And that's a very early first blood. And Zilean, not particularly known for his, impressive early game. So picking up a first blood already is pretty insane for that matchup. And, you're talking about if Polar Bear decides to go for that vertical jungling, it doesn't look like it. He's in that blue side jungle right now, and he's meeting up with the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Super Kaioken does have the vision thanks to the Tremor Sense, but the problem is Mad Mike Dog could go down early. Good riposte will get the stun onto the Taric, but Mad Mike Dog is taking way too much damage. The Rek'Sai nowhere nearby as Super Kaioken seems a little scared there with the low health and just elects to back here. So Indeed get their second kill of the game. Topside, they're going to go for a third as Bear King flashes in onto the Malphite. Everything is coming up aces for Indeed here in the early game as Blaze It Up Zach has not been able to get a foothold in these first few minutes.
Yeah, every single lane has had a kill go down in favor of Indeed so far. So even though they're all supports, this is already going super well for them. And it's not like their scaling is, that bad. Their scaling is pretty good. Sona and Taric, they always talk about how good they are as the game goes on. And Pyke, he does a lot of damage as well. And if you see, Zilean and Bard going for, some AP heavy builds, they're going to be doing a ton of damage.
Yeah, and even Bard has solid scaling with his meeps, so if he can be getting those, his damage can get very scary. And Mad Mike Dog, a little bit of disrespect here. Sets Polar Bear up for the regank, is able to get away, but this is maybe the beta. Super Kaioken gets in here, but it's going to be Mad Mike Dog going down first. Super Kaioken has to get away. Korean Banana low on mana, so it may be enough for the Rek'Sai to escape. Is going to actually go back in. The portal out will get Korean Banana's safety for now. Doesn't get the stun onto the Rek'Sai, and that's going to be big trouble for the Bard as Super Kaioken is actually able to trade back a kill.
Yeah, so finally, 1 kill going over to Blaze It Up Zach, and Super Kaioken doing exactly what we saw on the Rek'Sai. He's going to outduel the Taric in the early stages of the game, and Korean Banana with no mana left on the Bard, he wasn't going to be able to win that 1v1 right there, so it's nice to see the Rek'Sai get on the board early.
Yeah, just I would say a misplay there from Korean Banana, kind of taking the disrespectful route instead of retreating back through Tribush with the aid of his jungler. Instead, just opts to walk right into lane, right in front of the Rek'Sai, and Super Kaioken kind of says, well, if you're just going to make it free, I'm going to take it.
Oh, no.
Bot lane's in trouble here. Brian Acosta is going to go down. And another solo kill in the mid lane as Morshoes off screen is able to take down the Twisted Fate there. So, Indeed, despite giving up that kill topside, still looking very good. Up 3,000 gold at 5 minutes. This is a phenomenal start for the top team in the Central.
And Korean Banana, I thought he was going to go AP, but turns out he's just going AD Bard this game. He's got 2 longswords and a Doran's Blade, going fleet footwork. He's going to be a pretty big carry to actually worry about as the game goes on. He's going to have CC, he's going to have the invulnerability with that ult. It's going to be very hard to target him. And with the all-in that we see on Blaze Up Zach's comp, it's going to be super important.
Ooh, up to the top side here. Korean Banana's in trouble, going to go through the portal. But the bad thing here is that's actually going to take them out of tower range for a moment. Mad Mike Dog able to dash in and grab the kill. So Korean Banana dies for the second time this game. So top lane, possibly some hope there for Blaze It Up Zach as they get some more gold onto that Fiora.
Yeah, you can tell that that's where Super Kaioken is trying to focus right now, but now we're seeing some focus on the Zilean here too, but he's got the speed ups, he's got the Taric for the backup.
Super gank heavy early here for Super Kaioken, but here's the roam from Wacky Strawberry. This could be really bad. The TF is out of mana. Super Kaioken trying to swim away as fast as he can, but Polar Bear with the speed up going to try and chase down Kuntlocker. He's going to run back to tower range, is going to get stunned. Good knockup from Super Kaioken will save the TF's life, and is it up Zach? Oh, they actually get the trade kill. The tower aggro still taken by Wacky Strawberry. He's going to fall now here in the bottom lane. Bear King kills Mr. Powder King. Brian Acosta going to get pulled back in. Bear King looking for the double. The 1v2 kill under tower. And Indeed continues to grab kills across the map.
Yeah, when you see the Pyke 1v2ing under his own turret, he's 3-0-1 already with a bounty on his head. That's very scary. Pyke's one of the most snowbally supports in the game, and now I see Zillion pick up another kill. Wow, I would be terrified to play against this Indeed comp with how far ahead they are just now. Even though they're all supports, they're still pretty dominant across the board, and there's not really much room for error against that.
Yeah, indeed. Just continuing to punish every misstep from Blaze It Up Zach here. Super Kaoken able to clear out the blue buff, and we'll have to see. He's been able to do things around mid and top so far, get a few kills for his team, has been involved in all 3 kills to be clear, and has 2 of those kills to his name. Hasn't shown up in the bottom lane, and that's allowed Wacky Strawberry and Bear King to get off to a great start here. This is not the support Pyke, this is the bot lane carry version of the Pyke here. They do go double support on him, but he already has the serrated Dirk here. 2 kills to his name thanks to that double kill. And Kutlocker going to take more damage here. Just bombs after bombs landing on the TF's head. And Brian Acosta, this is the one trouble with the Malphite is Bear King's just going to get the easy execute there on a Brian Acosta. The problem with the Malphite is you obviously have that great level 6 power spike and can do so much damage. As there's a stun from War Shoes, he's going to get another easy solo kill in mid lane onto Kutlocker. But the Malphite has that great level 6 power spike, but you don't get to level 6 very easily, and especially in a dual lane with a lot of poke like this Sona and Pyke lane, and as well as all in, your laning phase is so rough, and you aren't getting a lot of income playing the support, so that means you aren't getting early armor, which is very helpful to the Malphite. So you really sacrifice. You're so weak levels 1 to 5, and then if you get too far behind, then that level 6 doesn't mean enough, because you're going to be hard-pressed to kill this Sona Pyke in the all-in, because they're just going to have so much damage and sustain in return.
Yeah, and it's one thing to note that the Malphite doesn't have Aftershock. He doesn't have any armor built in yet, so he's extremely squishy. And against a Pyke Sona early, they're going to be able to just take him down extremely fast, especially when Pyke has his ultimate. That execute damage on that is super high, so I'd be very scared if I was a Malphite in this lane.
A little bit of disrespect there as the bottom lane pushes up way too far there for Blaze It Up Zach, and Indeed takes the Mountain Drake, immediately goes down to the bottom lane to grab another kill, blowing both of the summoners there on Mr. Powder Cake. So the Ashe wasn't safe already, and it's only going to be more susceptible to any pressure in this lane. 12-3 lead in kills before we've even hit the 10-minute mark. Over a 5K gold lead, and Kutlocker is going to go down, stunned in tower range of Polar Bear is going to get the kill. Korean Banana trying to escape from Mad Mike Dog. Mad Mike Dog just portals in. Wait, and Korean Banana goes down? What was he burning from?
It was actually an auto attack from the minion that finished him off.
Oh, just from downtown.
That was insane. A super close, you could say calculated play, I guess.
Sure, let's go with that. Bottom lane, the Zillion onto the Pyke is going to allow Bear King to resurrect here. Super Kill King cannot get away. And the kill goes over to Bear King, grabbing the double with the death from below. And the Pyke is very, very scary here. Going to get the pull in, going for the dive here, going for the execute. A little early on it, but does grab the kill there as More Shoes takes down Mr. Powder Cake. And Indeed is just running roughshod all across the map here. 13 kills ahead, approaching 10K. Of a gold lead. Oh my goodness.
We're almost at 1K gold lead per minute right now, so Indeed definitely super far ahead. I'd actually love to see how much gold Pyke has generated from his passive, or from his ultimate this game rather, because it was buffed recently. He gets double gold on that ability now, and when you're snowballing like this, that's so much gold in your pocket. He's already got the Yoma's Ghostblade and another serrated Dirk, and working towards, was likely going to be that Duskblade of Drakthar. So we're looking at an extremely fed Pyke, and there's no one who can really deal with it on the side of Blazes of Zach right now.
Kutlocker with the bait here. Doesn't have the yellow card, which is going to be a little rough, as Polar Bear should be able to walk away here. Turns around for the stun, and now here comes Wacky Strawberry, as well as More Shoes. This could be big trouble. There's the Taric ultimate to buy some time. Down goes Super KO Cannon. Kutlocker has stayed way too long. He's going to get slowed, but the flash will get him to safety. Also had to use his heal. Wasn't enough to keep the Rek'Sai alive, and that means here comes Indeed. They're looking for more. Looking to take their second tower. They'll get some more plates. That's just more gold in the pockets of Bear King, who is a huge carry for Indeed right now. They've rotated all their members to mid lane here. Kutlocker just going to get popped by More Shoes there. Indeed will back away to drop that tower aggro, not after taking a few unnecessary tower shots, but they will be able to back to safety. Mad Mike Dog taking a lot of damage from the tower in top lane, but is able to escape. Ultimate from the Bard will lock down Super Kaioken. Can he get the stun? He won't, but it doesn't matter. Wacky Strawberry grabs the 20th kill for Indeed.
Yeah, you know, if I'm Kuntlocker there, I just type in, really, you need 5 to kill me in mid lane right there, but yeah, they sent all 5 mid to kill him and then get another kill on Super Kaioken. It's definitely look like Indeed has pretty much all control of this game and plays up Zach. I mean, you can see even the score is reverse 420 right now for them. It's not going too well.
Hard game. I mean, Indeed, even picking and I would honestly say not even full troll. This is a semi-troll composition because Sona, you can still play support. Pyke has the flexibility to play this kind of position, and obviously he's being set up to do so as Bear King grabs another kill there. And even more shoes on the Zillion is playing a very viable champion in his lane as Korean Banana is going to grab another kill. So really, the only quote-unquote troll picks here is the top jungle, right? Tarek you don't typically see in the jungle, though he certainly can do it. And then Bard doesn't go top a whole lot. So, you know, Indeed still putting a lot of gold on their big carries here. And Blaze It Up Zach also really seems at this point like they're just trying to play for kills. It seems like they kind of recognize that this lead is insurmountable at this point, so they're just trying to get whatever they can as the Asher will split the uprights. And Indeed, impressive no matter what they play, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much just pure dominance coming from Indeed. They're just playing to show how impressive they can be with, you know, whatever competition they want. And right now, I'd be scared if I was, you know, trying to play against an actual, like, you know, meta comp from them, because this is definitely about as far from the meta as you can get.
There's going to be the stun onto Kuntlocker. Polar Bear going to grab that kill as Costa goes down as well. 28 kills now for Indeed as we approach the 14-minute mark. They'll take their first inhibitor in the mid lane, and they do not have to leave. They've got the sustain from the Sona. They can continue to pressure if they so choose.
You know, I do see a small victory for Blaze Up Zach, is that since it has hit 14 minutes, or it's about to, all the turret plays didn't all go over in the top lane.
There you go. A little bit less gold there. There's another kill there as Super Kaioken goes down once more. Morshoes taking a lot of damage there from the tower as Blaze It Up Zach doesn't want to give up the base quite yet. Kuntlocker going to go down as Korean Banana grabs the kill. Mad Mike Dog trying to defend as best he can on the Fiora, but Polar Bear will grab another kill. Another hook there from the Pyke as Costa pulled back once more. Double bomb will not land on the Ashe, but one is still going to do, excuse me, quite a bit of damage there. In goes Super Kaioken. Korean Banana grabs one more. There goes a tower, and the fastest win could possibly come through here for Indeed. Bear King on the tower. The Nexus is exposed. Can Blaze It Up Zach defend the base? Indeed may want it. Do they look to back away? Stepping away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. The bomb on Korean Banana. Anybody goes in, they're going to take some damage. There's a shutdown onto the Bard. Here comes the defense from Blaze It Up Zach. Indeed will not get the win yet, as there's the ultimate from Super Kaioken to grab a shutdown. This is going to be a lot of gold going to the pockets of Blaze It Up Zach as shutdowns all over the place. Morshoes and Polar Bear are able to retreat and survive, but that's 3 kills. And the gap closing there a bit for Blaze It Up Zach.
And that's the start of the comeback, right? I mean, you get those bounties down onto some pretty big players on the side of Blaze It Up Zach. Mad Mike Dog picking up some, you know, Super Kaioken picking up some as well. That's a lot of gold going on to some pretty high damage threats. And Fiora, definitely no joke as the game goes on. She's about to finish. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll just pretend we didn't see that one. But
didn't see what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wow. Didn't see what, indeed. But yeah, I mean, Indeed probably didn't see that, but Mad Mike Dog, you know, he's nearing that Triforce right now, and once he gets that, he's going to be actually probably able to duel someone if he plays the matchup correctly, if he can use the riposte and, you know, use the ultimate correctly as well. He could actually win pretty much any 1v1 as the game starts to go on.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, the only one he's going to be hard-pressed to beat is going to be Bear King. Bear King pretty far ahead, already sitting on 2.5 items.
I wonder how much damage the Zillion Bomb is going to do.
The Pyke is scary. Yeah, there's so much damage on More Shoes right now, and it looks like they aren't going to give Blaze of Zach any more room to breathe. Mad Mike Dog is going to go down there to Bear King. Good ultimate from Wacky Strawberry, followed up by the Bard to lock them down. The double kill for Bear King. The Nexus still exposed. They're going to go for the kills here, looking for the ace. In goes Super Kaioken, but he is going to fall. Another kill there for Polar Bear as he grabs the double kill. They're going into the fountain, possibly. There's the ultimate from the Tarek, looking for the Ash. They're just waiting. They want more kills. Oh my goodness. They're going to pull in Mr. Powder Cake. That is the ace. Indeed doesn't want to finish. They're going to let the minions do it. This will be, I have to confirm, we watched some of the fastest games of the season last week, and they were topped one after the other. I believe we had one that was just under 20 minutes, and then we had one that was under 19 minutes the next game after that. But this will be, to this point, and I feel like every time I say it, like, oh, this is going to be the fastest game we see all season. That's got to be the fastest game we see all season. That is a 5 support comp that just won in 17 minutes.
I have to admit, that's not exactly what I expected to see as soon as we got into draft. When the draft was over, I was like, okay, should be a pretty interesting game. I did not expect it to be over in 17 minutes and with an insane gold lead for Indeed. They played their champs immaculately. They played the matchup super well in each lane, picking up kills across the board. And even though the Tarek Polo Bear playing pretty not standard jungler by any means, and actually making it look good. His clear was a lot better than I actually expected it to be, and he was able to have impact in pretty much every lane. And have to just give props to them for playing super well on these kind of unconventional picks. So I have to give all credit to Indeed for how well they played this matchup.
Yeah, we really have to look at Indeed here. And this game is really just them saying, hey, come at us. We will play anything against you. Come and try and beat us. And that, I love the confidence from Indeed because I think it's well earned. They have played extremely well throughout this season, obviously placing first in all 3 of the first weeks and showing up well here to start off week 4. They were an impressive team last season as Asian Imports. So really, this is Indeed saying Fruitling is gone and we are now the best team in Late Night League. And they're telling everybody, they're putting a challenge out when they draft like this. Bring your best shot. Give us your best shot. We will beat you with anything. So I love the confidence, and we'll have to see if they can continue to do that because they have been, bar none, the best team in the league so far.
I think this game pretty much solidifies them as the top team in the league right now. And one thing you have to consider as well is
if the last 3 weeks didn't solidify it, right?
Of course. This one just adding the cherry on top, if you will. But one thing is, what do you ban against this team now? If you can't ban away conventional picks, they'll just pick 5 supports and just win the game in 17 minutes. There's not really much you could do against that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think you still have to play. You have to come into every draft playing it normally, right? Assuming they're going to play standard. If they want to go for a quote-unquote troll composition, they want to pick 5 supports, that's on them. And you take advantage of that, right? If they give you that opportunity, because really compositions like that shouldn't win this hard. And I will say, credit to Blaze Up Zach for putting up a fight, but really a rough game from them. Admittedly, mid lane went really badly. The TF, multiple solo kills, didn't really ever have a footing in that lane or on the map. So this composition, 9 times out of 10, really shouldn't win like that, no matter who you're playing against. So I think you continue to draft standard. And you just try, you find where your weakness is, whether you think you can attack jungle or you can attack top side. If the bot lane's where you need to go, I feel like it's not mid lane, but respect to anybody who thinks they can try to win through beating more shoes. But you draft standard, you pick a part of the map that you feel like you have an opportunity to win, and you go for it. If they decide to bring out a weird, composition, go for it. Take the opportunity when it presents itself.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I actually really like the way that Super Kaioken tried to play that game. He was targeting the top side, getting some kills over an extending Korean banana, and was getting some gold onto himself in the Fiora. So that's pretty much exactly what you need to do against that composition, is just target one area. And he was doing good there, but on the other side of the map in the mid lane and the bot lane, it was just too far in favor of Indeed. So there wasn't really an answer they could have towards it. And everyone else on the game just ended up getting so far ahead that even though Rek'Sai had a couple kills, it didn't end up mattering.
Yeah, really credit to Super Kaioken there. I think he was hands down the best performer from Blaze It Up Zach in that game, and has been one of the standout performers for the team throughout this season. So I have a lot of respect for him. Has continued to perform very well, and hopefully we see Blaze It Up Zach able to, mentally reset a bit after this game, go back in. They're obviously not knocked out. It's a round robin play from the Central region this week, so they have another opportunity. They have at least one more match, and we'll see if they can come out and have a better performance in their next game. They need to just throw that one out, say, okay, we didn't play the early game well. We didn't, maybe respect what they brought to the table in their composition. That one's out off the table. Reset for the next one and go from there.
Yeah, I think if I'm the side of Blazes Up Zach, I try to pick something safer in the mid lane, perhaps something with more range, maybe a Lux or a Ziggs, where you aren't going to be in as big of a threat and in kill range if, Morpheus decides to go Zillion again or go back to something like his Zoe. You'll have a bit more added safety with the extra range, so I'd like to see that. And for the bot lane, maybe pick up a support who has some CC early so you won't just get run down the early game.
Yeah, maybe something possibly with a little sustain, because even if, maybe if you're going to get pushed in a lot, at least try and keep your AD carry alive, keep them in lane longer to, not let that CS gap get a little too large and let Bear King get too far ahead. Certainly some opportunities there, and we'll have to see what Blaze It Up Zach can do to adjust. But indeed, continuing to run the scene in the Central region, continuing to dominate, and we'll keep an eye out, see if, they may move on to the finals this week. We'll have to see if they can make it 4 weeks in a row. Remember, if you guys do want to learn more about our leagues, you can head to that link right there at esportsarena.com. Get more information about Late Night League or everything else that we got going. Remember, we do have streams on Thursdays and Fridays as well with our Super Smash Thursdays with Smash Ultimate, Fortnite Frenzy on Friday nights with our Fortnite tournaments. Have been a lot of interesting action there. What are your thoughts? Did you hear about the Fortnite World Cup over the weekend? Did
Yes,
you watch
I
it?
did.
You see any info?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched the final match. Seeing a 16-year-old win $3 million, that's got to be insane. I can't even imagine what that must be like. That's one of the biggest winnings from a single tournament I think a player has pretty much ever gotten.
So here's an interesting fact for you. A couple about the financials of the Fortnite World Cup. Booga winning $3 million was immediately rocketed into the top 10 earners in esports history in terms of prize money with just that $3 million. There was an interesting stat about Tfue as well. Tfue, who I think got $50,000 just for showing up, I think regardless of prize money. So he got $50,000 just for going to the tournament. Meanwhile, 10 years ago, Jaedong, who was one of the greatest StarCraft players in the world, made 86 grand in a year in playing StarCraft 2, and he's a Korean, one of the best players in the world, and that was 10 years ago in 2009. So crazy where we've come as the esports industry continues to grow, that more of these opportunities come out.
Yeah, 100% agree. And even like if you compare it to League of Legends earnings, Faker probably the most winningest player in League. So I think Bugga already has more in prize winnings than Faker has in this entire tournament and just his dominance in League history. So props to Bugga for winning $3 million in the first Fortnite World Cup. That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations to him. An impressive performance, and hope to see more from the young kid as we continue on. We will be heading to our next game here really soon. We will have Grizzly Gaming up against Titan Gaming, a couple of those teams battling below Alob in the Western region. We'll have to see if either of them can get things moving to try and climb up the standings. We are going to throw two champion select right now, though. Up on your screen, we've got Titan Gaming on the blue side and Grizzly over on the red as we get things going with the Udyr band to kick things off. I feel like we've seen a lot of Udyr in Champion Select the last few weeks. It's interesting. You don't really see him in pro play, but I love that there are so many junglers that like to play him.
Yeah, he's definitely a niche jungler. If you play him, you can have complete dominance over the map with the pick, but if it's not something you play, you're not going to be able to make the pick effective at all. So I like that we can see some players who are typically Udyr players, draw bans. And if we ever do get to see it, it's a treat to watch an Udyr just run around the map, stunning people and just doing a ton of damage. It's just great to see.
Yeah, a little bit of focus to the bottom lanes here as Leona, Morgana, and the Sivir all band away. Sivir continues to be one of those A to S tier 80 carries and won't be available for this game. And Titan electing for the first pick in the jungle. They're grabbing the Jarvan the fourth there for Gluttony, and then the immediate response from Grizzly is a possible bottom lane. Karma can flex around, but Caitlyn Karma, not a bad pair there for QST and Paper Crusade.
Yeah, definitely a super strong bot lane. Kate Karma with so much early range and damage on the Caitlyn and Karma. If you can land a good RQ in the early game, that's going to chunk out the enemy bot laners to maybe 10% 15% of their HP just off the E1 ability. So you have a lot of lane dominance with those 2 picks. And Varus, pretty decent laner himself, but nowhere near the amount of prowess that Caitlyn has over her lane.
Yeah, and you always have to take note of Caitlyn paired up with any support with hard CC is always great because it sets up the easy traps to get the headshots going for the Caitlyn, so you can get that Karma stun coming through. We also have to note, patch 9.14, they added the True Sight to her W, so that means that you will maintain True Sight as long as the tether is there, as well as throughout the stun, so you cannot escape from vision until that stun has cleared. So one thing to note there about that champion is Varus and Nautilus selected by Titan Gaming here. Possible bottom lane there. Nautilus has seen a little bit of play in the solo lanes over the last few patches, but seems like a Stun Daddy champion to me, so I would assume that's the bottom lane there picked up for Titan.
Yeah, 100%. Stun Daddy has looked incredible on engage support, so I'm assuming the Nautilus is going to go into his hands, and I'm assuming he's going to do a great job with it. But it's interesting to note that both teams opted for going for junglers and bot laners in their early draft, and now all these bans are going to be going towards solo lanes. We're seeing Urgot, Zed, and Ahri as the first bans coming out, and targeting both mid lane and top lane with the bans, and not really focusing onto one person right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Grizzly Gaming will obviously get first pick here, and then the counter pick. We'll have to see which lane they're more concerned with getting counter pick for. It's hard to say, as the Mordekaiser is going to be the final ban there. So we see in total 5 bans in the draft focused at those solo lanes, a couple of junglers, and then 2 supports and an 80 carry. But yeah, heavy focus to those solo lanes, especially 80 solo laners. Interesting to see that with the Darius, Urgot, and Zed off the board. First pick in the second phase for QST of Grizzly Gaming, and it's going to be the Echo, a flex pick that we don't really see in top lane too much, so I would expect that to go to El Oso and a counter pick for Tom. What do you think about the blind pick for the Echo here?
Echo, he can definitely struggle in a lot of matchups because he is melee, and he has okay damage in the early game. It's just it's not until you can pick up the Proto Belt and the Lich Bane where your damage really starts to come online. So if you can have a strong early laner on the side of Titan Gaming, probably a ranged mage or something like that, you can really punish the Echo in the early game. And the Riven blind pick is also extremely bold. There's a lot of picks that are very good into Riven that are still available, namely the Renekton. So I think that's pretty bold to just blind pick the Riven here.
The Renekton would be a really interesting selection here as well because of the added shield breaking that they put into his kit on his W this patch. There are now 4 shields that he could break. Instead, they're just going to early lock the Jax there. So an interesting setup here. You get the Orianna J4 combo for the side of Titan, which I really like. A little bit of that ball delivery for Zachariah's Orianna. Not the biggest of frontlines for Titan Gaming. They're obviously very carry heavy with the Riven selection in the top side, but you would really say the same for Grizzly here. Obviously they'll have the shielding, but Jax picked up in the top side. Can be a little tanky with his ultimate, but it's really just Sejuani and Nautilus that are kind of the main frontliners here. We'll have to see how heavily Gluttony itemizes into a tank build. Traditionally, you still see Warrior on a lot of J4s. Cinderhulk is an option, but you see really a lot of solo queue junglers and a lot of junglers in the late night league scene. More itemizing towards the Warriors, so we'll have to see how that shakes out. But an interesting draft here from both teams is what really stands out to you as we prepare for this game?
I'm honestly really looking at this top lane matchup, Riven versus Jax. Riven is much more stronger in the early game, but Jax has that scaling factor, and once it gets to a certain point in the game, once he gets his items, it's going to be really difficult for the Riven to just win that matchup unless she's super far ahead. So I'm really looking for QST to look kind of concede a bit in the early game, not perhaps win the lane, but try to just go even, not give up too much farm, and just look to split push as the game goes on, because he's not going to have anyone who's going to be able to just answer him in a split push as long as he doesn't fall too far behind.
Yeah, that should be fun to watch. I really like that we did end up getting the Caitlyn Karma bottom lane. Obviously, Karma has the flexibility to go mid or top, especially that top lane. Karma is really annoying. You go tanky, get Iceborne Gauntlet, you're just spamming spells, and you're extremely hard to kill because you get that 40% CDR really, really easily, and you're just spamming your shield so consistently. So it can be a very annoying pick. I would say Abandon is probably pretty happy that the Karma didn't go top lane there, but
Yeah, 100%.
we do get to watch this Caitlyn Karma lane into a Varus Nautilus, which is really interesting, right? You have the all-in potential from the Titan bottom lane with the Nautilus, but Caitlyn and Karma really aren't going to be shying away from fights. As we mentioned earlier, you get the lockdown from the Karma stun, and then it sets up Caitlyn to put out a ton of damage, and with the low mobility on the Varus T-Train, it's going to be difficult to execute in these fights because you're going to have to avoid the Karma Qs, especially if she's empowering them. Hitting you, that can be a lot of damage early on in the game. So I think the bottom lane is definitely going to be a fun one to watch here, see how things play out down there.
Yeah, I would be shocked if there weren't kills going down this bot lane already. There's a lot of CC on the side of Titan Gaming's bot lane with the Nautilus, and especially once Varus hits level 6, gets the Chains of Corruption, it's going to be a very decent threat with the killing, especially if Jarvan looks to target that as well. But again, Caitlyn Karma is so strong in the early game, and before that level 6, the only thing they have to really worry about is the Nautilus hook. If that dredge line doesn't connect, Caitlyn Karma can just go ham over this entire lane.
Yeah, should be interesting to watch. And one thing we have to note here, too, we talked about the lack of mobility on the Varus. There's not a lot in the Caitlyn Karma lane, so, could be a great opportunity for the Nautilus to land those dredge lines to set up some possible kills. And obviously, Varus, no slouch in the damage department, typically heavily going into his E, putting points in his E early, getting the slow. So we'll have to see kind of how things shake out in that bottom lane, but I think it's definitely an interesting lane to watch. J4 Sejuani, a pretty traditional jungle matchup that we've seen over the last few patches. Both have been very high priority for quite a while here. So no real big surprises there, but I really three interesting picks here. It's the Jax we don't see a ton. Riven has been showing up a bit more. Viper plays it a ton for FlyQuest. It's popping up here and there in different pro leagues, but the Jack is interesting as well as the Echo. The Echo we don't see a ton. The Ori never leaves the meta, right? Maybe she's almost never S tier, but she's never out of the meta because she provides so much utility, so much consistent damage, as well as the safety with her shield. So, but a couple of fun matchups there in the solo lanes. Those will be really fun to watch.
Yeah, 100% agree. I know last time I was here during week 1, we were talking about how in mid lane it's extremely versatile right now. You can play pretty much anything, and I think that's why we can see stuff like Echo and Orianna get picked up. Because you said that Orianna never leaves the meta. That's pretty much true. Echo, though, you can play an assassin in this meta because of how versatile the mid lane role is right now. So I'm actually really excited to see how that plays out. Because if Echo plays it correctly, he can just take over the entire game if he can push down this Orianna in lane. But again, I really want to see Gluttony try to focus towards his bot lane. He has so much gank assist once Varus hits level 6. And if they can manage to snowball that lane, that takes a really good win condition out of the side of the other team. So, I mean, honestly, Kate Karma is going to be the primary carries, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So if you can target that lane and set them behind, that's going to be really good going forward.
Yeah, the one hard part, though, is that really for either of these teams, any lane can carry. The Orianna probably has the lowest carry potential of any lane, but still can do great things with the Shockwave. But really, if anybody gets going, things can get really scary. The Echo is going into a composition that is fairly squishy across the board. Obviously, you'll have a bit of sustain there in the shields from the Ori and the Nautilus, but Echo has a lot of opportunities there, and the Jax as well. If he can get in and avoid a lot of the auto attacks and avoid the crowd control to get some damage done, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for a lot of players in this game to pop off, as they say. But we are on to the Rift. Game 2 of the day. Titan Gaming and Grizzly Gaming for a matchup in the West. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. By the way, I hope you guys are enjoying everything so far. Certainly a blast to bring you all the late-night league action every week. And trust me, we've got plenty more ahead of us throughout the night. 5-point starts from both teams. Just safety here.
Yeah, no invades this game. A lot different than the last game where we saw 3 separate invades going across the map at different times. But one thing I want to note here is Tom decided to go for the lethal tempo as his keystone rune here instead of what you would typically see is fleet footwork for the Caitlyn. Gives you a bit more dominance lane you have as sustain, as well as just that extra move speed is helpful in getting in more autos with your already absurd range on the Caitlyn. So lethal tempo means he's looking to have Sejuani frontline for him and just auto as much as you can during the fight, hope he can free hit and avoid Gluttony or Abandon looking for a potential flank.
Yeah, Tom taking that lethal tempo would probably indicate just feeling safe with this composition, right? You've got the Karma shield, so maybe you're thinking I don't need quite as much sustain because, Humming Ace should be able to help me just avoid quite a bit of damage, and then the peel should be solid there, so we'll have to see if that comes back to bite Tom in this game, picking a little bit less sustain, but getting the early push in the bottom lane there as Train and Stun Daddy are a little late to get down to the bottom lane. As a stun on the top side as QST gets a solid trade here to start things off. Good dredge line there from Stun Daddy, but not too much follow-up damage as Stun Daddy actually taking quite a bit of poke here early from the Caitlyn.
Yeah, and that's the danger of Riven against Jax in our game, is that if you cannot avoid that stun, at level 1 Riven only has the Q to dash, so she doesn't have as much agency to get out of that stun, and that's a very good opportunity for the Jax to trade and get ahead. So QSC really playing that early level 1 very good, and forcing Riven to use some of her bots early.
Yeah, it really feels like this top lane is just going to be balanced on a knife's edge here in the early game. Both of those champions. A lot of carry potential. Definitely very high potential for solo kills up on the top side. As it looks like Abandon wants to go in here. QST going to get the stun in return. Abandon forced under tower and taking quite a bit of damage here as the push is coming through from both of the side lanes of Grizzly Gaming.
Yeah, and even in mid lane too, you're seeing lane priority on all their laners, and typically you would expect the Orianna to be the one shoving in the Echo, but in this game, it's the opposite. Right now, Eloso is getting the push on this wave. He's going to be able to help out his jungle. He's going to be able to help out Paper Crusade on the Sejuani, and that's going to be extremely important in shutting down the Gluttony in the early game, because we were talking about how this Jarvan should be trying to impact early, and here, that's what I was talking about. He was able to get up there because he had lane priority. He was able to support his jungler, and that's an early first blood going in because of it.
That's a beautiful start there from Grizzly Gaming as Paper Crusade and El Oso combined to catch out Gluttony. And we do have to note, they do have, they have a ward on right next to the blue buff where the blast cone spawns on Titan Gaming's blue side. So great ward there to spot out where Gluttony was on the map. And the quick reaction too for Paper Crusade and LOSO to collapse, recognizing that the J4 was going to be stepping up towards the river to check if the Scuttle Crab was alive. They catch him out, grab first blood, and get things rolling for El Oso on this Echo.
Yeah, and I was talking about how strong just the... Actually, I'll just throw it to you for this one.
Oh, yeah, Abandon.
Is that going to be a kill? No.
That was so close.
Ooh, I thought that was going to be a kill going down, but Abandon gets out and holds on to his flash on that. That's awesome. You got to give props to him on that, because that was definitely a very dangerous point in the game, because if Abandon goes down this early and is forced out summoners, it's very dangerous for him going forward. So good on him to get out there, but I was trying to say how it's insane just how much pressure this Kate Karma has early. You can see just the health bars on the side of Titan Gaming right now, and even T-Train blowing his heal there because he doesn't want to get headshot by the Caitlyn from a million range after stepping on a trap. So when they're shoved under a turret like this constantly and Kate just gets to free hit, I think you'll hear a lot of analysts and casters say that red side Caitlyn is one of the most OP AD carries in the game, because you could hide the traps under the turret so well.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing you can do if you're T-Train. You can't walk up and farm your minions because there's traps everywhere. And if you try to as well, Humming Ace is just going to throw out Qs, and if he has the ultimate, that's going to be a ton of damage coming through. So you have to play this game very carefully from the side of Titan Gaming's bot lane, and Gluttony needs to look to impact that lane if he wants to be able to help them out and perhaps shut down just the dominance of the Kate and Karma in the early game.
QST wants to get after Abandon here, but Abandon able to avoid the stun there. Good job as QST trades back a bit. Both of those top laners obviously running Conqueror. No surprise there. They get that extra true damage and sustain as Gluttony is going to have to flag and drag away as El Oso aggressive on the invade here, but it is getting collapsed on 4 here, trying to take out the Echo. Does Gluttony have the flag and drag? He's going to take a lot of damage here as the dredge line misses. So does the arrow from the Varus here. Up top side, QST going to take a lot of damage. Flash in from Abandon, and QST goes down. The outplay from the Riven.
Yeah, and that was with QST having the level advantage. He hit the level 6 right as Abandon decided to go in. Abandon still didn't have that ultimate and still won the trade even with that. So impressive solo kill from Abandon. And that's what we were talking about is, the Riven, if she can get ahead in the early game, it's dangerous, but the Jax trying to hold on doesn't succeed in this case, and just impressive outplay and solo kill coming in from Abandon in the top lane.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the flash third Q from Abandon there to get the stun over the wall. So just great job from the Riven there, outplaying, as you said, QST on the Jax, who had the ultimate, which means he gets those extra tank stats and really gets things rolling for Titan Gaming there as they're able to grab their first kill here.
Yeah, and another thing that I didn't even get to talk to just because there was so much action was you saw El Oso going for that bot lane, invade. He was level 5 at the time, didn't even have access to the chrono break, but still had the guts to go for that play, and I gotta respect that.
Yeah, bot lane action here as Gluttony wants to go in, but the response is immediate from Paper Crusade. Gets down to the bottom lane. The kill is picked up there by Tom, I believe. We'll check the scores here once we get the scoreboard pulled up once more. Yeah, it was in fact there, picked up by the Caitlyn there. So very important kill for Grizzly Gaming to get the Caitlyn rolling. Already has a 35 CS lead over T-Train's Varus, so it's already a great start. And you add a kill on top of that, and Tom's going to be feeling great. I would be surprised. I would be surprised if we didn't get a BF start here from Tom. Should have plenty of gold there to grab an
BF and pickaxe.
Oh my gosh, this Caitlyn's going to be so strong coming back to lane. T-Train really is going to have his work cut out for him. Sitting on a respectable early buy on the Varus with the Vamp Scepter and an extra longsword, so a little bit of sustain there and a little bit more damage, but in a duel versus the Caitlyn, you're not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with her.
Yeah, and Caitlyn recently received some buffs to her ultimate, so having that extra AD already on top of the pretty insane base damage of her ultimate means if Varus ever gets low, he might just go down to the ace in the hole, so you always have to worry about that in the back hole once Caitlyn starts to pick up some AD. And now even with the Infernal Drake as well, that's even more threat coming in from the Caitlyn, and I would not want to be playing against that if I were inside of T-Train right now.
Stunned Eddie was trying to get the kind of hidden hook there against the wall, seeing if Humming Ace would step a little too far forward. As Zachary taking a lot of damage there to El Oso, backs away as the parallel convergence is dropped and the traps there. So the bottom lane of Train cannot even quickly step up toward the Tribush. They have to go the long way around, and that is punished. Ooh, Abandon in trouble here. The Glacial Prison is going to land. Abandon trying to get away, and will be able to escape from that gank by Paper Crusade. Titan Gaming holding on for dear life here as, well, the kills are close. The gold, these CS leads are so huge as Zachary will go down. The shockwave is way too late. And the Orion is dead, but Stunned Eddie able to grab a kill in the bottom lane. Tom backing away, burning from the Ignite. T-Train, you got to be careful. You still need to respect that Caitlyn, but that's a kill in the bottom lane for Titan.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. The Varus Nautilus hit the level 6 and immediately looked to go on Humming Ace and just take him down. It's a squishy karma. He's not going to be able to survive that much damage coming through and Abandon. I'm liking the way he's playing Riven so far. He's playing, pretty dangerous, on those lines of danger right there, but managed to get out, and he held his flash in the earlier one, used his flash to survive the previous gank, and now at the third attempt now, survives just by going back to his turret and picking up a solo kill as well. His Riven play has been really impressive, so I'd love to see how he can impact this game. He's starting to get ahead early, and if he can look to find flanks, I'd be terrified if I were El Oso or Tom with a Riven trying to go behind us when clearly Abandon is very skilled on the champ and very comfortable on the champ.
Yeah, we noted earlier about how really every lane in this game has the potential to carry, and it's looking like for Titan Gaming, they're going to look for that carry performance out of Abandon. Has looked very impressive to start the game, sitting up 1-0 and a minor CS lead so far, but has gotten things going. Has teleport available here in just a moment, so could look to make a play across the map. We'll have to see if Abandon wants to do that or is instead just going to look to save it to get back to lane. Gluttony back on the bottom side, looking to make something happen here. The wave needs to be cleared out. Going to go over the wall. There's a Cataclysm onto Tom, but Tom just able to net out, and Paper Crusade's down here again. Tom grabs the kill on Gluttony, and Paper Crusade is tracking the J4 so well early in this game.
Yeah, now we have the first turret going down at 11 minutes. That's every single gold plate going down in Caitlyn's pocket. And Caitlyn typically has that kind of mid-game power trough, but she's going to push right throughout this game. She's so far ahead already. As I'm almost guaranteeing that she has the Infinity Edge when she decides to back here. Yeah, sitting on 1,800 gold, I think it's only 1225 you need to finish the item. And there you go.
Yep. That is going to be a very scary Caitlyn coming back to lane there. Gets the full Infinity Edge as well as a couple of daggers on top of that. So we'll be expecting the Zeal item coming out next from the Caitlyn as Tom looking very good. And we have to give credit where credit is due, and I mentioned it right there at the end of that fight after Gluttony goes down. Paper Crusade has done such a good job in this early game, participating in 3 of 4 kills, has put a lot of pressure up on the top side, which hasn't quite worked out yet, but has at least, kept Abandon in check to a point. And every time Gluttony goes bot lane, Paper Crusade is there, ready to respond, getting in, and just stalling out everything the J4 is trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, even since that very start of the game, oh my god.
QST is going to survive there thanks to this sustain in his ultimate. Getting the solo kill on Abandon, so things are all even in the top side in terms of kills. Both of those champions 1 and 1, and Abandon, QST not going to let him have it easy.
Yeah, definitely. QST got solo kill earlier, now trades back saying, I'm not going to be the only top laner getting a solo kill this game.
Yep.
I'm looking to fight, looking to skirmish early, and that's awesome to see. Jax, like I said earlier, much more of a scaling pick. So if you're picking up a solo kill at 12 minutes, that's very good going towards the late game. Once you can get out of this laning phase, Jax is going to be very happy about that. But we were talking about how Paper Crusade was doing a good job, counter ganking Gluttony earlier. But it's been since the start of this game, Gluttony went down as that first blood on that blue side invade when you saw Eloso back up the Sejuani. And ever since then, it seems like Paper Crusade's just had Gluttony's number at every turn.
Definitely has seemed that way so far. Grizzly Gaming already has the Infernal Drake that they were able to pick up earlier, now looking for a Mountain. They've got priority on the pit, 5,500 gold lead, and very scary setup right now, but Gluttony and the rest of Titan want to contest here. They're actually going to get onto Paper Crusade. There's a Cataclysm, the flash away from Sakurai, and the junglers are dead. So no smites here. It's just going to be who can win the fight. Stun Daddy going to get taken down. Sakurai trapped in the pit, will get the shockwave, but it does not matter. T-Train just sitting on the other side of the wall, doesn't even come into the pit to respond here, and he's just going to go down to the Jax. QST, no way he doesn't take down the Varus here. No flash or heal used by T-Train, gets taken out by QST. The Drake is secured at Grizzly Gaming. Their gold lead just spikes once more to 6,500.
Yeah, that was just better team play coming in from them. QST realized this play was going to happen early, started walking down from the top lane. He had the teleport side, not even to use it there. And Abandon didn't even have his TP, used it to get back to lane. So it was essentially a 4v5, and it showed Grizzly Gaming taking over that entire team fight. And just props the way that their team has been playing so far together. They're playing as a 5-member team where Abandon sadly wasn't there that time. He didn't have the TP and didn't have the lane push. So QST was the one there to support his team on the play, and that's why they were able to win that fight.
Another big swing in favor of Grizzly Gaming. Both teams now trying to secure some vision around the Baron Pit. Rift Herald is live, and it would appear that Grizzly wants to continue the neutral objective dominance and take that one down. They've lane swapped now as QST is down to the bottom lane. Sakurai is here to try and pick up this wave and keep the Jax off of their tower. Dredgeline just misses there, just out of range. The Caitlyn able to step away. Top lane tower is secured by El Oso, and the Sejuani still on the Rift Herald. Sakurai is going to get stunned and take a lot of damage as the Rift Herald is taken down there. QST jumps away, but Sakurai already below half health, and T-Train and Stun Daddy are going to see if they can do something here in mid lane, but they could be in trouble. Here comes the Sejuani. Paper Crusade holds on to the Glacial Prison. Just biding time. They can easily go for a tower dive here. That tower is so low.
Yeah, they could just take the turret down.
And they've got a cannon wave. Tom's just got to set up the trap line. They're playing this very conservatively. That would tell me that Paper Crusade really wants to save the Rift Herald to try and secure a tier 2. Seems like they're just willing to be patient here and knock down this tower with the waves, because it's really only going to take 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, it's going to be this wave. Looks like Titan's just going to concede that first turret. And now, like you said, he has Rift Herald looking to push potentially for the second turret with using it.
Well, the big problem here is topside. El Oso is able to take down the tier 2 tower. There was no response from Titan Gaming. That means the Echo easily able to clear out a second tower here. And now there's just going to be multiple pressure points on the map. QST obviously pushing in bottom lane. Grizzly Gaming is not letting their foot off of the gas pedal here. They may not be going for the fights as much, but they are really forcing Titan Gaming to make some decisions here pre-20 minutes. Still holding on to the Rift Herald. Patience from Grizzly Gaming.
Yeah, definitely some patience just taking the recall here, not deciding to go for any too risky plays. But I don't know how I feel about this the lane matchup that Titan Gaming opted for there. They sent Zacharai down to deal with QST in the bot lane, and even though he has a range advantage, he's very vulnerable if Jax can get that jump in, and Jax with a flash up definitely can get that in. So I think Abandon would do better in just a 1v1 scenario against QST. I think Zacharai definitely has the tools to deal with El Oso as well, so I prefer to see the top and top stay in the same lane, and same with mid and mid.
Yeah, Abandon seemed the best equipped to deal with the Jax. They aren't electing to match Abandon up with QST at this point. Abandon up on the top side, able to clean up a wave and get that, not pushing, but maybe it can start, it may be able to start a slow push on the top side for Titan Gaming, see if maybe they can go for that top tier 1. It's a 4-0 lead in Towers 4. Grizzly Gaming here as we approach the 18-minute mark. About an 8,500 gold lead for the team on the red side as Titan Gaming is in big trouble. Gluttony has tried to be proactive throughout this game, has tried to get onto Tom and Humming Ace as many times as possible to get the Caitlyn behind, but it has not worked out as Paper Crusade has responded in turn every time. Rift Herald is dropped topside. That will mean a charge onto the inhibitor tower as the tier 2 in mid lane just falls to the pressure of Tom here. Gluttony trying to get in, is getting in the Cataclysm. There's the Shockwave to grab 2. Humming Ace has to flash away. May go down here. Zacharai trying to chase down. That's going to be the stopwatch to keep the Karma alive for now. Tom trying to fire away. Takes out the Orianna, but down goes Humming Ace. Paper Crusade getting collapsed on by 3, and that's going to be a double kill for the Bears. But here comes QST. He's going off. Gluttony trying to run away, but can he escape? Abandon has arrived, but it's way too late. Tom has the double. Looking for the triple as El Oso grabs the double. That's the ace for Grizzly Gaming, and they're going to bust this base wide open.
Yeah, that fight started off as a 5v3 in favor of Titan Gaming, and they managed to pick off the Sejuani and the Karma early, but as soon as QST and El Oso came back with the flank, they just took over the entire fight, almost an instant ace, and then Hibs going straight down. They're just going to turn right towards that Mountain Drake and get themselves way further ahead in this game. 12k gold lead at 19 minutes.
This is going to be an easy double mountain for the side of Grizzly Gaming, and now a team that already has so much Baron threat just based on how much control they have over the map. They can take it down so quickly now with this double Mountain Drake and all the damage that they have, right? Because you took carry top and a mid laner, so really Titan Gaming cannot let their vision falter on the Baron Pit, otherwise that objective will disappear in an instant. The gold lead now 12,000 for Grizzly Gaming as we are about to hit that 20-minute mark. Baron is live in 10 seconds. They're already starting to set up vision in that area of the map. And the problem for Titan Gaming now is they have to deal with supers in the mid lane. They don't have tier 2s at all, so that means that Grizzly Gaming can just throw QST in any side lane, ideally probably put him in bot lane right now with his teleport available to pressure. And you're going to be hard-pressed to take down that Jax. I mean, we just saw him jump into 4 and take almost everybody out, and that's going to be the Baron started. Now. They've cleared out the vision. I like this call from Grizzly because Titan Gaming has to respond or they give up the Baron for free. And if you're Grizzly, you're feeling more than confident in a fight. The Baron goes down so quickly, less than 30 seconds after it spawns. It is dead, and El Oso is looking for the fight. Stun Daddy has to run away. Oh, there's the Solana T train. Oh. He's going to eat the Caitlyn ultimate, takes him down solo. He cannot respond to this fight. El Oso going in aggressively, but ult's a way to get the sustain. El Oso is going to take down the J4 there. Zacharai backs away. That's 2 dead. And Grizzly Gaming is charging forward with Baron buff. Zacharai cannot get away. There's the Proto Belt chase from El El Oso. Can he get the slow? He needs to land the Q here. Zachary going to go down. That's the pop. The Echo grabs the kill, and here come the Minion Waves down the mid lane. Grizzly Gaming just popping one Nexus Tower, the second soon to follow. The quick games continue. Just over 21 minutes, Grizzly Gaming dominate Titan Gaming and grab the win in the West.
Yeah, and they just turned it from 0 to 100 that game so quick. As soon as they picked up the second Mountain Drake, realized that they had the ability to take Baron extremely quick, cleared out vision, instantly turned on it, and before Titan Gaming could even react, Baron was dead, and then the team fight just went way in Grizzly Gaming's favor. They were so far ahead, and Echo did so much work. So props to Elo, so really making the Echo work in this team fight, and having an assassin work out that well in a team fight is extremely difficult to pull off. So props to Elo. So that game he played phenomenally on the Echo, and then Tom with the Caitlyn as well in the bot lane. Huge damage threat, and just props to both of them. I really like the way that they played the game, and they deserve the win.
Yeah. Things definitely worked out. I love seeing teams that are able to grab a lead, execute on it, and really continue to accelerate towards a win. You know, when you have that big of a lead, you should be able to push to a fairly quick victory. They knew exactly what they needed to do. They go straight to the Baron, get the fight, push down mid, and take the victory. So an impressive performance there from Grizzly Gaming, and we'll look out for more for them later on in the night. We are going to throw it to our first break now, but stick with us. We have more Late Night League action for you when we return. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to week number 4 of Late Night League Season 3. Yeso and Seal here to get back into the action. We have another game from the Central actually closing things out in the Central early tonight with their round-robin play. We have Indeed facing off against Ferocious Virgins, both sitting at 2 wins in round-robin play, and the winner of this will take the title here in week number 4, so that 10 points obviously on the line. And as we just saw in the standings, Ferocious Virgins sitting 15 points behind Indeed, and so would be a big victory if they can take them down, also considering the fact that Indeed is undefeated throughout the season, so definitely a lot at stake.
Yeah, and these are the same two teams that were in the finals last time I was here during the Week 1 cast, so looking at, probably the top 2 teams from the Central region facing off for whoever wins this one, taking in the 10 points for the week. And Ferocious Virgins definitely looking to close that gap, see if they can get within 1 week of that lead in the overall point standing. So definitely looking to give all they got in this game.
One thing to keep an eye on here, something I kind of want to note, is a matchup we've seen a lot, considering these teams sitting kind of at the top of the Central throughout the season, is Soaring Eagle versus Moreshoes. And it's really felt like, we saw quite a bit from Soaring Eagle last season. But what I've really noticed is it's felt like Soaring Eagle has kind of been playing in Moreshoes' shadow a lot. We see a lot of crossover in their champion pools. Both of them are big Anivia players. And it really has felt like Moreshoes has just been the dominant mid laner, and Soaring Eagle has never really been able to challenge him for that role. He's been close, but really has been kind of stuck behind him. So I'm really looking for Soaring Eagle to step up for Ferocious Virgins. I know he has the potential. He's been a very, very good player. It's just seemed like every time he comes up against Moreshoes, he's never quite it's never quite enough. But certainly a huge opportunity here, as we noted before the game that Indeed typically, when we were playing the tournament style, has that winner's bracket advantage, right? You need the loser's bracket has to reset and beat you twice in a row, but now that advantage is gone. This is just a single best of 1 for the week 4 title, so a huge opportunity here for Ferocious Virgins to try and knock down the top team, and we'll definitely hope to see Soaring Eagle stand up to Moreshoes like we know he can in this game.
Yeah, and I think one thing to note is that Korean Banana is back on his signature pick. He's on the Irelia. If I'm Ferocious Virgins right now, that's what I'm looking towards for trying to shut down is the Irelia, because we've seen Korean Banana pretty much constantly last season. When he got the Irelia, he would just steamroll the entire game, and he could just 1v5 at certain points because he was just so fed. This is by far his most comfortable pick, and you can just tell. Just look at the way he's playing this lane already, blowing a flash when Hawaii versus Game is still just level 1 on the Ornn. Just immaculate play coming from Korean Banana on probably his signature champion.
Yeah, I don't know about using that Bellows Breath. Hawaii versus Gaming probably should have backed away immediately after coming out of that stun, but that, probably it may still have cost him that flash, but very risky there from Hawaii versus Gaming. Now has to play very conservatively, most likely using all the stacks on that Corrupting Potion after taking that aggressive trade from Korean Banana. Has to back away. So top lane, definitely another lane to keep an eye on is Korean Banana, as you mentioned, on that big comfort pick. Has the carry potential for Indeed, and we'll have to see what he can bring to the table in this game. Pushing Hawaii versus Gaming under his tower, is going to get the stun there. Some good damage out onto the Ornn, and won't go too aggressive. Doesn't want to go for the tower dive this early, but trying to build a bit of a level and CS advantage here in the early game. Randy Newman going to step up on the Morgana, get a little bit of vision, try and keep them safe from Polar Bear playing the Maokai jungle. Something we don't see a ton since since we saw the nerf to his saplings, right? Because you used to be able to just stack them all in a brush, draw a camp over to the brush, and it would just blow up a ton of its health. But nowadays, you have to kind of chain them one after the other to get all that damage out. So a lot of people kind of strayed away from the Maokai jungle, but coming out here for Polar Bear could be a solid option. Very tanky, good, setup, gank setup, as he can come in with a twisted advance, and then obviously you get the nature's advance from coming out of the river. Can be very scary as it covers a big chunk of that lane.
Yeah, and as we progress towards that teamfight stage of the late game, it's going to offer so much room for Bear King to free hit and a lot of peel for Moreshoes. So having the insane frontline of a Maokai and a Nautilus is pretty much exactly what Indeed wants. But, I mean, we didn't even get to talk really about the compositions because we jumped right into game. But the Kate Morg is another, another option for Caitlyn to set up her trap, because if Morg lands that Dark Binding, you can change that into the Ural Snap Trap and get almost certainly at least, if not a kill, a big chunk of damage out of it. So that's why I'm looking towards. If Randy Newman can land that Dark Binding, it's going to be huge for Ferocious Virgin's bot lane. That's exactly what they want to do against this Xayah Nautilus early. And again, Morgana just a great pick against Nautilus in general because you have the Black Shield. It denies a lot of his engage, especially before level 6 when he's really reliant on that dredge line. Because once he's level 6, he could use the ultimate onto a different member who doesn't have the Black Shield. But in this early stages of the game, when he only has a dredge line as his CC ability, the Morgana has a lot of options to just deny that engage.
Yeah, the Morgana really the quintessential pairing with that Caitlyn. Everybody always talks about getting the Dark Binding into that snap trap and setting up a lot of damage for the Caitlyn, as Hawaii versus Gaming doing his best to dodge as many of these stuns coming from Korean Banana's Aurelia so far. Was able to back and grab boots as well as a Ruby Crystal and get the refill on his Corrupting Potion. So Hawaii versus Gaming going to feel a little more comfortable in this lane. Korean Banana electing to get the Rejuve bead and the Longsword on his first back. So some solid combat power there for the Aurelia. Good binding onto Wacky Strawberry, but no traps from Beastlance mean that the Nautilus can back away pretty easily. But Beastlance and Randy Newman really trying to force Bear King to farm under tower here. Bear King has still been able to keep the CS numbers fairly close, so the Xayah not suffering so far, but a lot of pressure still being applied by the bottom lane here, Ferocious Virgins. There is going to be the trap and the lockdown. A lot of damage on a Wacky Strawberry. Forced the flash away there. No heal used by Bear King. Good conservative use of the Summoner spell there, or lack of use, I should say. There's a binding under tower, though. Bear King taking a little bit of damage. No follow-up from Beastlance, but still a lot of pressure continuing to be applied by the Ferocious Virgins bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm loving the way Randy Newman's playing this already. He's landing so many Dark Bindings. And the first one that landed onto Wacky Strawberry, Beastlance was just out of the trap range, so you couldn't get that chain CC into the just huge damage from that headshot. But these last two, you have seen, Bear King and Wacky Strawberry eat these Dark Bindings and get chained up with the Yordle Snap Trap and just take huge damage. And they're already pushed under their turret and super low, but the Maokai is right here.
No, this is trouble. Oh, wait, but the counter gank. Beautiful setup here from the jungler. That's going to be first blood onto Beastlance as Orbit is down to the bottom lane with perfect timing here to counter gank Polar Bear. Not expected whatsoever by Indeed, and that's first blood on the exact member you wanted on the Caitlyn, as it got a great start.
Exactly, and what is with the Sejuanis and getting incredible counter ganks today is incredible. After the last game, seeing, the Sejuani just consistently get these counter ganks off, and it's happening again this game. It's just beautiful to see.
Ooh, Morshoes putting the laser right in the face of Orbit. They are going to get a kill, but it is immediately responded as Soaring Eagle is able to take down Morshoes. Polar Bear follows. That's 2 for the Cassiopeia, and Ferocious Virgins just like that, up 3-1 in kills. Korean Banana going to look to trade one back. Good charge away by the Ornn. Cannot survive. Triumph and the tower shot will not be enough. Korean Banana gets the solo kill top lane, but we do have to note, Infernal Drake will go to Ferocious Virgins. No, it won't. They had to back away. Interesting, Soaring Eagle goes to the mid lane. Looks like without Smite, they weren't confident enough to try and take that, but the Cassiopeia is great at taking down objectives, but it seems like low on mana, they elect to go for a little bit of a safer play and possibly go for the Infernal in the near future.
Yeah, I'm sure once she starts to stack up that tier, perhaps finish up that Archangel staff, that'll be a good time for them to opt for the Drake. But right now, I guess they're just going to start now with the back timings being desynced. But all of Indeed backing at the same time gives a lot of room for Ferocious Virgins to start up this Drake. And if they can pick that up, that would be incredible. But instead, just turning their focus towards that mid lane, getting down a bit more vision, and just diving right in is Orbit.
Oh, that's going to be the Glacial Prison locked down by the binding. Morshoes still able to back away. Not enough damage from the jungle support combo there, but still scary as now Morshoes had to use the cleanse. Backs away with less than a third of his health, so it would be very risky for the Vel'Koz to step forward. Obviously knows that the big cooldown is off of Orbit as the Glacial Prison was used, but still would be a lot riskier for Morshoes to step up to try and defend any sort of take on to the Drake. Dark Binding there from Randy Newman forces out the Featherstorm from Bear King, so that's a great cooldown to take out in the bottom lane. Korean Banana once more in this top lane. Hawaii versus Gaming really seems like he kind of keeps just sticking his chin out there up top side. Says, come on, give me all you got. And he's gone down once, but holding his own so far. Orbit stepping up, is sitting on a ward. Good job from Indeed there. Fool me once, shame on me, but fool me twice. Not going to happen.
This time denying the linking from happening, having the ward there, really smart from them. But I just think from the pure standpoint of Ornn breathing against Irelia's blades and doing the same damage is just hilarious.
Oh no, big trouble here as the counter gank comes in this time from Polo Bear, and down goes the Caitlyn. Randy Newman, that had to have been just a misclick, a possible fat finger there from the Morgana onto the stopwatch. Actually doesn't save Randy Newman, but instead secures his death, and the bot lane of Ferocious Virgins will fall. They're still in a minor goal. I mean, gold is essentially even at this point. It really doesn't matter. And now Indeed has the inside track to go for this Infernal Drake, and Orbit, very low on health and mana, no flash available, is going to have to concede this Infernal.
Yeah, that was just really good from Polo Bear, recognizing that Beast Lance was a bit out of position and taking him down early. But that's kind of an atypical mistake coming in from the bot lane of Ferocious Virgins. They were doing so well up to that point. They had complete control over the map, but Orbit's low here.
Orbit's in the pit. Good Glacial Prison. Wacky Strawberry could go down. Zoning is Soaring Eagle, and they're actually going to get the Infernal as well as 2 kills. Make it a third. What a play from Ferocious Virgins, the response, and they grab multiple kills on Indeed.
Yeah, it didn't even matter that Orbit was so low at the beginning of that. Soaring Eagle eating up all the attention of Polo Bear and Bear King on the backside. Wacky Strawberry was the only damage that there onto Orbit, so there was no chance of him going down, but just incredibly played from Ferocious Virgins, coming back from a pretty bad trade in the bot lane. They lost their AD carry, lost a bit of their gold lead, but turned that around into an Infernal Drake and a few more kills for themselves. That's awesome to watch for them.
The tower plates in bottom lane will be the cherry on top there for Ferocious Virgins as they now leap out to a 2,500 gold lead and obviously grab that Infernal Drake. And really, we do have to put big old air quotes around that damage threat for Wacky Strawberry, because he really wasn't going to be able to get anything done. He doesn't land his dredge line. He isn't really able to threaten Orbit whatsoever. And Polar Bear is zoned away and killed extremely quickly, so Orbit is easily able to just focus onto the Drake. Smite gets the health back, obviously, as well as securing that for Ferocious Virgins. So a huge play, turning this game in their favor. And now 12 minutes in, Ferocious Virgins with a lead. We're going to need to see them to continue to make positive plays here, because we know Indeed has the comeback ability. They showed it to us a week ago against Cloud Gaming when they got behind in the mid game, but were able to draw the game out and win in a very long 45-minute game. So Indeed is never out of a game. They're not dead until you take that Nexus. So Ferocious Virgins really going to need to, keep their foot on Indeed's throat and continue to push forward.
Yeah, and especially with Bear King looking pretty good on the Xayah, sitting at 2-1. He's going to be a huge damage threat in this late game, especially with how big his front line is. As well as just having, the Irelia means that you're going to have to focus that melee champion down and not really get, too much onto the Xayah herself. So it gives a lot of room for her to free hit in these fights.
A little bit of trouble top lane there as Hawaii versus Gaming takes a lot of damage, but a good job from the bottom lane of Ferocious Virgins once more, as Randy Newman was able to time the Black Shield well when Polar Bear showed up bot lane, and Orbit is here maybe looking for something himself. Has the ultimate available. They could collapse on a Polar Bear. The mid laners will not be here anytime soon. They're going to back away. This is risky for Indeed. I don't know if you want to go aggressive, because Orbit is just waiting for you to step a little too far forward, and then you're going to eat a big chunk of ice to the face here. Hawaii versus Gaming. Zoning away Korean Banana, actually going for the call of the Fortune God. Can he get the kill here? Oh. No way, the solo kill for the Ornn.
That Korean Banana had flash there, but perhaps just didn't think he was going to go down and thought he might be able to trade, but...
The disrespect from Indeed will cost them 2 kills here in the span of 30 seconds as Polar Bear just steps up to Orbit, and we talked about it. You step one step too far forward, Orbit is going to throw that ult at you and you're going to go down. The Maokai is nowhere near tanky enough this early, and this will mean a bot lane tower most likely. We'll see how much wave clear comes out. Okay, Bear King able to clear out most of the wave. Using the Feather Storm there. Not sure if it was necessary, but trying to play really, really safe here in the bottom lane. Ferocious Virgins really wants to force down this first tower. They want to get more gold onto this Caitlyn.
Yeah, and Orbit's just been on point with his Glacial Prison so far, and that's really been the breaking point for them in these fights, but...
bot lane, here comes the Aurelia. Beast Lance cannot escape the flash to avoid the slow from the Sejuani. Korean Banana able to grab a kill there as the bot lane will fall. They spend all of their summoner spells and do not survive, and Soaring Eagle even has to flash away here near their red buff gets a little bit more damage back onto Polar Bear and able to sidestep the poke from More Shoes. So holding his own in this 1v2, but indeed punch right back and keep the gold lead within 3,000.
Yeah, and that was just a good play from Bear King, keeping himself alive and getting down the damage. And Korean Banana with the beautiful flank on the backside was what allowed them to kind of get themselves a bit more back in the game. Now it's only down to that 3K gold lead. Hawaii getting a bit of time in the top lane, just hitting that turret with his hammer, but it's not going to do too much. He's an Orin, doesn't have that big turret threat that you would see like, you know, a Jax and Aurelia have.
Very back and forth start to this game. Obviously, Ferocious Virgins in the lead, but indeed hasn't let them run away with it as of yet. We aren't going to see an 18-minute game out of Ferocious Virgins this time, but they're going to go aggressive to the top side. Can Korean Banana survive? He cannot. Orbit's going to grab the kill, as now they're starting to punish the real strong point for Indeed so far in this game. Korean Banana had largely dominated the top lane outside of Hawaii versus Gaming solo kill, but now getting punished as they're sending pressure up to the top side, and now they're looking for a Rift Herald as Beastlance and Randy Newman continue to pressure in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and remember, this is the final game of the Central region this week. There is no reset for Indeed, so if Ferocious wins this, they're going to take the 10 points for the week. So they're looking to come out with everything they have, and it's honestly too much for Indeed to handle at this moment in the game. You know, Polo Bear on the Maokai has not been able to really find too much going on early, and there you see the crit.
Man.
Oh,
Beastlance just shredding through shields and all on Wacky Strawberry. They're taking down the Nautilus. The Rift Herald is dropped in the mid lane. Post 14 minutes, there's no tower plates to take, but it doesn't matter as they're definitely going to be able to secure the mid lane tower. So that's 2 towers falling in quick succession, as the bot lane should be able to push and secure that. It's just Bear King defending. The Rift Herald won't get the charge onto the tier 2, but still 2 towers. As we said, in quick succession, that gold league now at 5,000 gold for Ferocious Virgins. And we have to say, it's week 4. So after this week, there's only 3 more weeks to play in terms of garnering standing points to get to the Season 3 finals. You have to be in the lead at the end of week 7, otherwise you will not move on, because it's just the top team from the Central that advances. This is a statement game here for Ferocious Virgins. If they win this, they set themselves up as the team that can challenge Indeed. If they don't, you're going to be hard-pressed to catch them. That lead will build up to nearly 20 points with an Indeed victory here, and you're going to be hard-pressed to chase them down even with double points, because they continue to perform at a high level. But if Ferocious Virgins can take this, this would be extremely an extreme confidence boost, I should say, for this team in the Central region as a whole, that Indeed is mortal.
yeah, and Indeed definitely looking mortal this game. Not even just the kills going in favor of Ferocious Virgin, it's the objective game as well. They've picked up the Rift Herald as well as 2 Elemental Drakes so far. You got the Cloud Drake and the Infernal Drake. Now, Cloud, not the biggest factor, but Infernal definitely one that you want to pick up, and that's probably why they're opting to take the Cloud Drake this early, see if they could get a couple more Infernals on the board and just give the Cassiopeia and the Caitlyn so much more room to work with in terms of damage. Because if you can pick up, you know, 2 or 3 Infernals, there's no really room for Indeed to catch up when it comes to just gold and items.
And I really want to highlight one of the storylines that we talked about at the start of the game, and it was Soaring Eagle versus More Shoes, and Soaring Eagle stepping out from the shadow there, and we really have to recognize has been very good this game. 4-0-1, already finishing an item and looking for his second as he continues to stack up that tier, and really has controlled the mid lane well, leading in over 40 CS, and really More Shoes has been largely a non-factor in this game, and a lot of that credit goes to Soaring Eagle continuing to put a lot of pressure in that lane, making it so the Vel'Koz really, it's not easy for him to leave this lane. So huge props to Soaring Eagle, who has performed very well today, looking good, and a big carry for Ferocious Virgins as they carry this 5,000 gold lead towards the 20-minute mark.
Oh, and sorry, a nice double stun.
And here comes the Ornn. This is actually the 2v2. Health bars are so low for Indeed. Can Soaring Eagle step away? Steps into the stun. Will go down. No, he won't. Yes, he will. Okay, Polar Bear able to grab the kill, but it's still the 1-for-1 as Korean Banana falls. The shutdown gold is important for Indeed. Soaring Eagle will give a little bit of extra income over there. Randy Newman's got to be careful. He could get lasered. He's going to eat the damage here. There's the redemption in the Morgana. Will survive just barely there. As Morshoes will looking for blood. Flash away here is going to mean that the depth charge will knock up the Morgana. Black Shield not going to be up soon enough. Morshoes able to grab the kill eventually there. Polar Bear moving into the mid lane as they may look to try and pressure tier 1 in mid.
Yeah, and we were talking about earlier how Indeed is not out of it if they're down early, and here we go. A couple plays in a row going in their favor, both Soaring Eagle and Randy Newman going down. And when Soaring Eagle, started off that fight, I thought he was in a terrible position, but Hawaii versus Gaming coming through with the Orin ultimate, I honestly thought it was going to turn into just a 2-for-0 in favor of Ferocious Virgins, but that flawless duet barely landing on Soaring Eagle, and him not using the flash or the cleanse to get out of it early is what ultimately led to Indeed winning that first exchange, and then the second one going down in their favor too. Cutting down the goal lead just a bit, and that's exactly what they want to do right now. They want to get the game a bit closer so they can win when it comes to just a straight-up team fight as the game goes on.
2 items completed for Soaring Eagle. Significant lead over Morshoes there, who is sitting at not even 1.5 items at this point, right? Although we do have to recognize that as Cassiopeia, you don't have to put gold into boots, so I would say it is more of a half-item lead there because of how Morshoes has to put it into those Sorcerer's shoes. But still, solid lead for Soaring Eagle. Up by a level and some CS. Polar Bear going to get caught out here and taken down. This Maokai has never reached the level of tankiness that he needs to be at yet. Obviously, tanks scale very well, so, given time, Polar Bear can get there, but it really seems like Ferocious Virgins doesn't want to let the Maokai get to that huge point as that, kind of unkillable tree in the front line. And
yeah, they're just turning towards Baron right now. They're just going to start up after taking down Polar Bear. I mean, they used the ward as bait, take down the smite on the enemy team, and just turn straight towards Baron. They have a Cassiopeia. That's so much damage onto Baron early. Even though they don't have Mount Drake, it doesn't matter. Look, it's already below 4k HP.
This is huge. Hawaii versus Gaming and Randy Newman are just zoning. The Baron's going to go down, indeed, with no response here. Hawaii versus Gaming just needs to back away. He's going to avoid the dredge line. Gets locked down by the Blade Caller, but it doesn't matter. That's 5 Baron buffs on the side of Ferocious Virgins. A huge play there as they're able to grab the Baron essentially for free, and with the 6,000 gold lead up 3, Towers the one they're looking to push towards the Indeed base.
And teams have been so decisive around Baron today. I love watching it because there's so many times where you see teams kind of just do that Baron dance, just try to play around vision, and here they got the vision out early and said, hey, we got the pick on the enemy jungler, why not just start it now and take it? And they knew that they had the damage to take it with the Cassio, and they honestly brought it down before even Polar Bear's spawn was halfway up, I believe. So just great play overall coming from them, and another catch. Just the vision control entirely in Ferocious Virgins' favor this game. They're getting all the catches they need, and when you have, a Morgana and a Caitlyn and a Sejuani, this is exactly what you need to do. You need to get these catches, and it's working so well for them.
And I think that's the big point there where you talk about the vision control in relation to the Baron was I really think Ferocious Virgins did such a good job of doing all the prep. They did all of the right steps to prepare for an eventual Baron, and then they knew, okay, we've got all this vision set up, we've got map control, we've got side lanes pushing in our favor. These are all the conditions that we needed to meet and all the boxes we needed to check to go for Baron. And as soon as they see that, they go, okay, let's go for it. We've got the damage in the Caitlyn and the Cassiopeia. We can go take it down. Randy Newman and Hawaii versus Game do a great job of zoning away from the pit. They take the objective without any contest, and now they're looking to continue to push and build on this gold lead. They get the Ocean Drake. Now they're going to take the tier 2 in bottom lane. It looks like they're going to rotate right to mid. Soaring Eagle has prepped that wave perfectly, so they've got a wave crashing into the tower right as they arrive, and they can maybe even look for a dive here. That's a beautiful binding on a Morshoes. He's forced the flash away. Polar Bear going to try and respond. He's a little tanky now, but not enough as Soaring Eagle takes down the tree. Orbit with a beautiful stopwatch to stay alive, but can he escape? There is the depth charge on a Soaring Eagle. Flash and cleanse, but the kill still comes through to Bear King. So it's a 1-4-1 here, and the tower stands for now.
Yeah, and I've been talking about Randy Newman's positioning since the early game on this Morgana. Is beautiful. He was sitting right on the other side of the wall there. There was no vision from Indeed over the wall, and he was just able to land that binding, get the flash, and cleanse out of Morshoes. And the dive was a bit too hard from Soaring Eagle. He ended up going down. But that 1-for-1, that's still in favor of Ferocious Virgins. They got the turret, and they have more pressure on the map, still having the Baron buff on 4 members.
And one thing we have to note, both mid laners is trading both of their summoner spells in that dive. But if you're Soaring Eagle, you're feeling a little better about that because you know More Shoes is behind. You've got the jungler in orbit who is tanky enough and continues to play aggressively and get those engages out. So, you know, you're feeling just fine about this as you can continue to try and pressure that Vel'Koz. All tier 2s now falling one after the other in favor of Ferocious Virgins, now up 6-1 in towers. They have huge control across the map. They're going to get to litter the jungle of Indeed with wards, and they'll just continue to push forward with the rest of this Baron buff.
Yeah, and they're sitting on a 9k gold lead already, and it's now in that point in the game where Oran's starting to get access to his Masterwork items. So that gold lead is kind of deceptive. There's actually more, you know, just in terms of stats, gold in the pockets of Ferocious Virgins just because of the added Ornn items. So you're looking at, you know, potentially, you know, a 12k gold lead if you're factoring in the extra stats to get from the Ornn.
Already 3 Masterwork items, and now make it 4 as the Infinity Edge is upgraded there for Beastlands. So Soaring Eagle and Beastlands both with their Masterwork items, and 2 on Hawaii versus Gaming. Ferocious Virgins is very scary, and you talk about that gold lead being deceptive, right? That's a 9k gold lead that is bigger than it actually is.
Yes.
Very, very scary here. Polar Bear is going to try and go in and engage, but he's going to eat so much damage, but they're biding time. Good call. The Forge God will knock up for Soaring Eagle. Takes down the support. Korean Banana trying to get into the backline. Down goes Soaring Eagle, but able to trade back one more. Double kill for the Cassiopeia. Double knock up onto the mid laner and the AD carry. Pear King flashes away, but can he escape? He's trying to deal back the damage. Gets the Blade Call to lock down 2, but Beastlands is looking for the chase. More Shoes is dead. That's a 4-4-2 in favor of Ferocious Virgins. They don't have the Baron buff anymore, but they do not care. They're pushing for mid lane.
Oh my god, Hawaii versus Gaming in that fight. The Call of the Forge God hits, what, 4 people, and then gets another 2-man knockup at the end to get the last couple kills for the fight. That just won them the entire fight by so much there. They had a gold lead, but it was actually really good from Indeed. They did such a good job at the start of the fight, but it was the Ornn that really turned the tides of that fight and made it so much more in Ferocious Virgin's favor, and that allows them to take the inhibitor, you know, just reset on the map, take, you know, the rest of the jungle camps are up for the side of Indeed right now, and they're kind of just fighting for scraps right now. There's a couple lanes getting pushed into them, but again, when it's 10k gold lead and then there's still Ornn items on top of that, as well as the elemental drakes, Ferocious Virgins is just in such a good position in this game to take it all.
It really seemed like early in that fight that Ferocious Virgins had maybe stepped a little too far forward, and it was looking like Indeed had done a good job. It's looking like, hey, we've got him into this choke point. We've got some good AoE crowd control and damage. We may have Ferocious Virgins right where we want them, but it was all just the big bait because Indeed closes down so tightly that it makes, as you mentioned, Hawaii versus Gaming's Call of the Forge God so easy to set up. He gets the huge knockup, the turnaround, and all the DPS coming out from the backline of Ferocious Virgins just shreds through Indeed. They win that fight and continue to build on that gold lead. Now officially 10,000 gold, sitting with those 3 Drakes. Up 19-11 in kills, and they're looking for another Baron. Baron will be live in just 3 more seconds. They're clearing out the vision. They've got control over the pit once more. Baron should be very, very easy for them.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, you know, Polar Bear's trying to look for a steal right now because that's pretty much the only option they have. They can't.
They don't even
win
have
the vision
time.
control, and
he's over the wall.
What's the health on Baron?
Redemption comes down. There's the Nature's Advance. Can he get it over the wall in time?
And he's grounded on the other side.
Beautiful there. Here comes Orbit's going to go over the wall. They're just going to be able to take down the Maokai, and down in the bottom lane. Hawaii versus Gaming trying to pressure here. Going to get the knockup. Going in for the solo kill in the 1v2. Korean Banana able to get away. More Shoes going to get the laser. Hawaii versus Gaming going to take a lot of damage, but he's still surviving. He's buying so much time. He's distracting the 2 main carries for Indeed for so long. They'll get the shutdown, but does it even matter? There's the ace in the hole to get some more damage there. Korean Banana has to head back to base to sustain. They're going to push on to the Nexus Towers with Baron buffed minions. One falls, and here comes Korean Banana. He needs to get onto Beastlands. It's so important that the Caitlyn does not survive, but can they do it? Bear King trying to get out the wave clear. Super Minion spilling in. That's going to be the Featherstorm forced out by the Dark Binding of the Morgana. They're continuing to push. Second next tower is going to go down. This is the moment. Indeed, you need to go for this fight. That's going to be Polar Bear onto the backline. Soaring Eagle dealing out so much damage. Korean Banana cannot take him down. Polar Bear falls. Beautiful ultimate from the Cassiopeia as More Shoes will survive, but not for long. Wacky Strawberry, the only defense left, but it is not enough. The Kings will fall, and Ferocious Virgins will take the title in week 4 for the Central region.
Yeah, after all this time of Indeed, first 3 weeks taking first place, Ferocious Virgins finally take that title away from them, and that is just beautiful from a storyline perspective, but incredible play across the board from Ferocious Virgins. Every single lane played to their win condition in this game. Their jungler played incredible. Red, Polo Bear like a book, it seemed, with Sejuani, and props to every single member of Ferocious Virgins this game. That was incredible to watch. They out-macroed them, outplayed them in lanes, and just won the objective game, won the kill game. Everything was going in their favor. I have no more left to say. That was amazing.
Ferocious Virgins executed so well on their composition. Obviously, you get the Sejuani playing so heavily around the bottom lane, getting Beastlance and Randy Newman moving. Soaring Eagle did such a great job without a lot of jungle pressure. You typically would look at something like that and think, okay, I'm on the Cassiopeia, good comfort pick, I can really carry on this. Give me a lot of ganks. Let's try and take more shoots down. He's on a very immobile carry, but Soaring Eagle was really just 1v1 a lot. Dealt with some pressure from Polo Bear, but really handled it well and carried very extremely well on the Cassiopeia. And then you go up to the top lane, right? The Kareem gets a great start. Gets the early solo kill. Takes down Hawaii versus Gaming, and then you're really thinking, oh no, like, is this one of those games? Is this the 14-1 Aurelia performance again for Kareem Banana? But Hawaii versus Gaming holds his own, gets a solo kill in return, and then continues to have great ults and team fights. So executing just very well, top all the way down to bottom there. Ferocious Virgins with an impressive performance. And one other thing too is, Indeed, as we saw last week, is able to come back. They can find opportunities to get back in games, and sometimes it feels like they get one or two plays and teams get scared and they go, oh no, here they come, and maybe they play too safe. But Ferocious Virgins didn't. They stuck in there. They stood in the pocket. They continued to take the pressure and push through to a win. So just a huge W for them. They take the 10 points. The first victory taken away from Indeed here as they dropped their first game of the season, and Ferocious Virgins with an impressive performance.
Yeah. I think that's 100% summing it up. That's exactly what I would say, too. Just great play across the board. And I still cannot believe how good Randy Newman's positioning was. His vision control was amazing in the support role. He was able to sit just outside of vision, even bait people with wards, land dark bindings on them, and just take them out with the chain CC coming from the rest of the team. So the team play was there. The outplays were there. And just overall, the macro was there. So just great job from them.
Yeah, definitely an impressive performance. We are going to throw to our next game, though, as the Central has closed out. We're headed back out west to this side of the coast. We've got Peaked High School against Titan Gaming coming up next. We're going to throw right into the game here, already through Champions Select. Beautiful. We are right on to the Rift here. Both of these teams looking to battle it out, and Peaked High School, as we said, one of those teams that really needs to fight back from the bottom of the standings here. Need an impressive performance here today. Titan Gaming kind of mired in the middle. They're all grouped up in this brush. Peanut Butter could be in trouble here. Is going to spot out Gluttony. Actually backs away. Everybody should have gone with Gluttony there. They would have had an easy kill. You need to start out before Gluttony shows to try and catch Peanut Butter. But obviously you didn't have the vision there, so you don't know.
I think they were trying to bait out someone with just having the Sejuani out there, perhaps.
Maybe thinking there's multiple members there to try to come out and get the kill. It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm actually really excited just seeing this draft here. This first game where I've seen a Kiana in late night league so far, so that's going to be really exciting from a Bannon in the top lane. He played Riven last time we saw him and looked like he excelled in that carry matchup. Seemed like he is very comfortable on carry picks, so I'd imagine that the Kiana is going to be in that same vein.
Yeah, should be right in his wheelhouse. We'll see how practice he is on the champion. We get another J4 Sejuani matchup here. I don't mind it too much, honestly. Certainly things can get stale if you're seeing those consistent lane matchups, but the thing that doesn't really get stale about the J4 Sejuani is you bring so much action to the table. There's great engage and early pressure from both of these junglers that doesn't seem like it ever really gets boring here as T-Train and Stun Daddy trading with Jeebus, Creebus, and Peanut Butter. They get the Xayah Rakan lane, an interesting one here, and Stun Daddy on his signature Leona this time around. So definitely some fun matchups here on the Rift. Zachary playing the Ahri into half Sam's Rise.
Oh, and there's level 2 coming from the bot lane.
Flash away from Peanut Butter, recognizing the stun was coming through, but it is not enough. There's the heal, the trap, and the first blood for T-Train. They're taking out Peanut Butter. Both summoners will not save the Xayah. And he's going to go down, abandoned now. Going for Johnny Vitro, but here comes the gank from TK Wicked. Wants to set up the flag and drag, biding his time, knowing that he can wait. Abandon trying to run away. There is the flag and drag, forcing the flash away from Abandon. Not sure if Wicked wanted to wait that long, but was looking to see if they could get the kill without using it, possibly maybe waiting for the flash to try and go for it, and Abandon does flash away. So no kill. Topside 4 peaked, but they are at least able to get a summoner spell.
Yeah, and Abandon, we saw him last time when he was on the Riven, having to absorb a lot of pressure from ganks and doing it well. And here, same story again. It has, it doesn't even, blow the flash of anyone on peaked high school, but still survives the gank with a great usage of his own flash.
Half Sam in trouble in the mid lane, forced the flash away. There's Gluttony. Goes for that early gank.
Yeah, and I mean, peaked high school, they're sitting on a bit of a gold deficit right now, but you're okay with that right now. The bot lane matchup is where I'm looking for peaked high school to really start to take hold, is that if the Xayah and Rakan can start to get ahead, if they can get a good hold against T-Train or Stun Daddy. But so far, Stun Daddy has been playing the Leona exceptionally well, and T-Train looks very comfortable on the Caitlyn.
Invade there from Gluttony along with the bottom lane means that they'll be able to take that blue buff away from TK Wicked. Already behind here early, and that is not going to help him whatsoever. T-Train and Stun Daddy now back to the bottom lane. Does Jeebus Creepus want to go in here? They have the opportunity, but it seems like they're going to be a little hesitant knowing that Stun Daddy is nearby. Yeah, this is going to be rough. Wicked's going to head right to his blue buff, not knowing that it's gone.
Yeah, it's going to be just wasted time, essentially, with the Jarvan trying to go for that. But good take from Gluttony, recognizing that Wicked wasn't going to be there and just getting a good steal on the blue buff right there.
One thing to note, Johnny Vitro on the Nautilus this time around, a player who we traditionally see on more carry picks, switching things up here a little bit, going with the Nautilus. Definitely has the playmaking ability, but doesn't bring quite the damage to the table, but has a solid laning phase, so we'll have to see if this is a different pick that maybe can work for Johnny Vitro as Jeebus Creebus gets the knock up onto T-Train. Peanut Butter backing away as the aggression is coming out from Stun Daddy there. The Leona puts so much pressure on this lane, but TK Wicked on his way down to the bottom lane as Johnny Vitro and Abandon are trading topside. Johnny Vitro, does he go for it? He's got the flash.
And Abandon doesn't have flash. I'm not sure if Johnny Vitro doesn't remember that right now, but still looking to go for that kill. Abandon's still super low there.
The CC chain, bottom lane, Stun Daddy going low. One more auto attack. That will be it. The kill for the Xayah and the solo kill. Top lane for Johnny Vitro. So peaked high school with a response here, getting a couple of kills. Sejuani's up to the top lane. Johnny Vitro flashes away. Dredgeline away. Can he escape? He gets away. I love it. Holding on to the Q there until just the right time and survives. Gluttony.
Yeah, and even forces the flash out of the Sejuani, so a win-win coming from Johnny Vitro. Gets the solo kill, survives, and blows the Sejuani's flash. Can't really ask for much more than that. And now there's going to be a Cloud Drake, unless a miracle still can come from T-Train. But good smite secures that, and that's going to be peaked high school picking up their first elemental Drake for the game.
Oh, half Sam. He's got to be careful. Here comes Gluttony, but he's actually able to sneak the Q around and grabs the solo kill. Now Gluttony's in trouble. Flag and drag, the double kill for the Rise, and half Sam popping off early.
Yeah, and the Rise typically one of those more scaling picks. You don't really see that excel too well in the early game, but here doesn't even matter. He's just picking up 2 kills for himself early, weaves that Q perfectly around the Sejuani, and that's not an easy thing to do. Sejuani's a big target, but managed to get that right onto Zachariah and then pick up the second kill right onto Gluttony immediately after. So good play coming from Half-Sam on that one.
Stun Daddy stepping up to the brush almost seemed like he knew something was wrong and backs away, and Jeebus and Creebus and Peanut Butter hold their water, but here comes TK Wicked for the regank. They got to go for T-Train. This is a free kill onto the Caitlyn. He cannot get away. Flash, but knocked up with a beautiful combo from TK Wicked. Grabs the kill for Peanut Butter. And peaked high school looking great. Zachariah trying to get away, is going to land the charm, but is running right towards Gluttony. There's the ultimate from Half Sam. Going to get right onto Zachariah. That's going to be another kill. Jeebus Creebus able to grab it. Stun Daddy backs away under tower, but consistent pressure here early from Peaked High School has them up 6-1 in kills.
Yeah, they're just winning across the board. Every single lane they've seen kills go in their favor. And then the jungle matchup as well. It seems like the Jarvan has, pretty much mastered control of his champion, TK Wicked, landing these combos extremely well. And it doesn't even matter that the Sejuani's been there for, counter ganks and stuff. He's been just outplaying him in pretty much every single scenario.
Over aggression here from Peaked High School. The red not even stolen away. It's actually grabbed by T-Train there and costs HalfSam his life. So Peaked biting off maybe a little more than they could chew there, but still leading by 800 gold and have that Cloud Drake in their pocket as well. Also, one thing we have to notice, a lot of that gold lead is onto Peanut Butter and HalfSam, which is where you want it, right? So 700 gold lead. Oh, it's actually even in the bottom lane. We do have to note between the 80 carries. But 700 gold lead for the Rise is very, very good. And we'll see if he can continue to put some pressure on Zachary here in the mid lane. Seems like every time he comes back to lane, he's chunking through the Ahri's health bar.
And Ahri, a much stronger early game pick, so you'd expect, the Ahri to be up in CS in this matchup, be shoving in the Rise. Actually, it's about even when it comes to the shove. Both of them have a lot of good early push. My mistake on that, but definitely would expect the Ahri to still excel in the damage department in this early game, but HalfSam still doing really well in this lane matchup.
Able to juke away from the charm. Good route there, but it's going to take a lot of damage as he's going to be frozen there by the Sejuani, but still able to back away. Gets the Ignite out of Zachary. Doesn't even have to use his flash there, so I love the Rise there waiting, understanding that he could escape. And I think the one thing we have to notice, while they may be even a bit in that pushing potential and there's a bit of that early game lead to Zachary, HalfSam is going to outscale the Ahri.
Yes.
Big time. The Rise will get very, very scary as this game continues. So very good for HalfSam that he gets a couple of kills and mitigates some of that early game pressure from the Ahri, and that could mean that he could be a big carry for Peaked in this game. Up now 1,000 gold as we approach this 10-minute mark. TK Wicked trying to take down Scuttle Crab on the top side, but he's going to get pressured here. Flag and drag and the smite. He doesn't have any escape here, and he's got to be careful, but that is him locking down the jungler and the mid laner. HalfSam going to grab the kill, backs away just to be safe. He doesn't want to go down to Abandon. It's actually the top laner, I should say. Abandon able to escape, but I love the bait there from Wicked. HalfSam with the collapse, easily able to get out the damage and takes down Gluttony.
Yeah, they just had the members there where Titan Gaming didn't, and I think it was kind of surprising there that Gluttony didn't end up using Glacial Prison. I believe he had the mana for it, but just opted to not using. Maybe got caught off guard by the members appearing and getting knocked up by the flag and drag. But just good play again from Peaked High School. Extending their gold lead this game and kind of picking off whoever they can when they overextend.
And look at this, Jeebus Creepus actually zoning T-Train and Stun Daddy away. Seems like the Leona Caitlyn having a lot of respect because TK Wicked has spent so much time in this bottom lane. I mean, he's already ganked this lane 3 times in the first 10.5 minutes. And it really seems like Stun Daddy and T-Train don't want to step too far forward for fear of the J-Force showing up in their lane once more. They're content to I would say they're content to let this lane push, but then they go to clear the wave. And Johnny Vitro in a bit of trouble here, but is able to land the dredge line, trying to back away, but caught by the Glacial Prison. Knocked into the wall and locked down here by the Kiana. Flashing away. Can Johnny Vitro escape? Does get the double knockup from his depth charge. Can he escape?
Oh.
No. Lands the dredge line, but not quick enough. The damage comes out from the Kiana there. And in the bottom lane, we're going to get some pressure. Beautiful ult there from Stun Daddy, but a lot of sustain here. They're able to lock down the Caitlyn. Can they get the charm? Flashing in his Jeebus Creepus. They need one more auto attack to finish off the Caitlyn, but it's not enough. The Ignite will tick down, but the Caitlyn survives with less than 100 health. Very close there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and Jeebus Creepus is the one who is responsible for keeping his AD carry alive there and kind of forcing T-Train to heal him back out of that fight because he had a great quickness, a great grand entrance, keeping or knocking down the Caitlyn, keeping her out of that.
Oh, this is big trouble. Flash forced out of Stun Daddy there. Great job from Jeebus Creepus, recognizing that they could threaten the Leona. And neutral objectives traded there. Very key. Wicked able to come down, solos down the Ocean Drake, means the second elemental for Peaked High School. Meanwhile, Gluttony paired up with Abandon, I believe. Yeah, should have been Abandoned to take down the Rift Herald. And now Stun Daddy having a back way in between the tier 2. Caught in the Cataclysm. Going to go in for Jeebus Creepus, but Wicked able to grab the kill there. And the Peaked High School duo will have to back away. Gluttony on his way. They've got the minion wave at the tower so they can take the quick route out, but they've got to be careful here. Half Sam rotating down, has the ultimate available, but Zacharai trying to keep track of the Rise for the moment.
And that was actually really smart from TK Wicked, coming into that gank. He went onto the Leona, who was down her flash, so using the Cataclysm meant that Leona could not escape, whereas Caitlyn has both the 90 caliber net as well as the flash to get away. So, good decision making from him, earns them that kill and gets them a bit extra damage down onto that turret.
Abandoned trading here with Johnny Vitro, but the Nautilus fairly tanky at this point in the game. Now TK Wicked heading towards the mid lane, spotted out, but avoids the charm. Has to respect that Gluttony and Zacharai are there, so he won't go aggressive. But he does have the Rise nearby to help out if necessary. Half Sam now has to get the fancy feet out. Able to get some good damage there on a Gluttony. Wicked will be able to snag that blue buff, and Johnny Vitro up topside once more. Has to be careful. Abandon has the ultimate available. Solid damage and good lockdown from the Kiana if she can land that, but that is going to be the dredge line, and does Johnny Vitro go for it? He has the mana. Teleport down to the bottom lane from the Rise. They're going for some action. Stun Daddy trying to back away, but it's a 4v2 for the moment. Here comes Zacharai. Charm onto the J4, but it's not enough. That's going to be the charm onto Zacharai. They're trying to collapse. They're going to take down the Ahri. The kill goes to Peanut Butter, but there's the ult over the wall from the Sejuani. Wicked has to back away. He's low on health. T-Train trying to fire away from the safety of the tower, but that's a 2-for-0 bot lane, and actually, we have to note too, Abandon goes down in the 1v1 to Johnny Vitro.
Yeah, and typically you wouldn't expect the Nautilus to be able to pick up a solo kill like that, but here he is sitting, at like 70% HP after a solo kill, just taking down this turret by himself. So I'm wondering what happened in that top lane matchup to have that 1v1 go so poorly for Abandon, because in his first game today on the Ribbon, it seemed like he was really excelling in this carry matchup and being able to play a carry very well. So perhaps the Kiana not as much of a comfort pick as the Ribbon for him.
Is able to finish his first item, has the Duskblade of Jackdaw, but the problem here is they give a first tower to the peaked bottom lane. That's more gold in Peanut Butter's pocket. Already has finished the Essence Reaver, sitting at 3-1 and 1, and Johnny Vitro continues to fight here. This is going to be very risky. There's the ultimate coming out from Abandon. A lot of damage coming from the Nautilus, but here comes Gluttony trying to get over the wall. Doesn't have the Glacial Prison. Johnny Vitro will back away, and I'd say that's a win there for Peaked High School. But here comes Half Sam. He's going to take out Gluttony, and Johnny Vitro once more gets the solo kill on Abandon. The Nautilus is dominating the top lane.
Yeah, and in that case, it's just Abandon not recognizing perhaps the item that's buried there. Right now, he has the lethality from the Duskblade, but it's not going to do anything when you're facing someone who has a chain vest and has an aftershock with a giant shield on your debut when you're as Nautilus. So just not respecting that. And Johnny Vitro picking up 2 solo kills in a row without even having to go back to base. So now he has a lot more gold in his pocket. He has a lot more armor on himself, and he's going to even excel more in this 1v1 against Abandon.
And things are only going to get scarier for Titan Gaming here, as we've already seen the Rod of Ages finished by the Rise, and the tier is on, or it is stacking. So that Rise is scaling up as we speak. And Peaked High School, some of the best play we've seen from them this season, up now about 6,000 gold. They're 2-0 in towers. 4 members of Titan Gaming grouped up around the mid lane as they do drop the Rift Herald that was about to expire. It should get a charge here, but there's TK Wicked getting into the backline, distracting T-Train as long as he can. Jeebus Creep is going to get in with the charm. They need the damage. There's the Cataclysm, forces the flash out of T-Train. He's burning from the Ignite. Do they have the damage? Peanut Butter going to try and get out the feathers. T-Train just surviving, but has to leave. Here comes Abandon. There's the shutdown onto the Recon. Good blade caller from Peanut Butter is going to get 2 kills onto the bottom lane. Gluttony has to back away, but there's Half Sam flashing in for the kill onto the Sejuani. It's a 3-for-2 so far. They're going for more. Johnny Vitro aggressive, does get shut down by the Ahri there. Makes it the 3-for-3. Over aggressive from the top laner there. Maybe a little bit of disrespect, but still another big fight here as Peaked is looking to push on to this mid lane tier 1.
Yeah, and just a 1 fight overall for Peaked High School, and you could just see
Abandoned so low. Oh no, Peanut Butter, the heal will keep him alive just
so
barely.
Low. Yeah, and I was gonna say Peaked High School really played that fight extremely well, and had Johnny Vitro not gone for that last all-in attempt to kill Zacharai, it would have been even more in their favor. But they're going to pick up the turn off that, and now Stun Daddy is not in a good spot. You aren't going to win that 1v1 against a Rise.
No, but luckily it does have Zach right coming in for support, so the Rise can't stay for the kill, but TK Wicked looking for a third elemental Drake. Here comes the ultimate from Half. Sam just looks like he uses it to zone away the team. Infernal Drake releases back into the pit, but still at about 2,500 health. Here comes Johnny Vitro for the assist, but Gluttony's winning over the wall. He's going to go for the Smite Steal if they aren't careful. Pink Ward into the pit. That means they know that the Sejuani is there. Things are so close here, but that's going to be the secure. Now they can just collapse onto Gluttony here. Gluttony trying to survive as long as he can. Jeebus Creep is going to look to go in with him. He's waiting for the Q to come up, but he's just going to go down to Peanut Butter there. Another kill for the Xayah. And Peaked High School continues to build on their lead.
Yeah, Gluttony used the Arctic Assault to try to get into the pit there and grab the steal. Was unfortunately just a bit late on that, but cooldown wasn't back up for him to get back out. And now we're seeing the ultimate from the Ari blown, but great job getting over the wall.
Yeah, trying to escape, but going to get caught in the Cataclysm. No, he's a Fox. It would have worked maybe if it was a Rengar caught in the Cataclysm.
Oh, that would have been great. Or a Yuumi, even better.
Wicked stepping forward aggressively. There's going to be the engage from Jeebus Creebus with the grand entrance. But just backs right away, content to get the stun or the knock up and just retreat.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only 18.5 minutes into the game, and we're looking at an 8K gold lead for Peaked High School, 3 elemental Drakes in our pockets, and better scaling we talked about earlier. The Nautilus is going to be very effective once he starts to get these tank items under his belt. The Half Sam is going to scale much more than Zachariah, and then the scaling on both Xayah and Caitlyn is about the same. Caitlyn has the advantage of the range, but Xayah, with the extra damage coming in from her W and just the general build path you go for, you're going to be extremely useful in the late game. And Jeebus Creebus has been looking phenomenal with his quickness in these fights. He's been managing to land charms onto 3 or 4 members almost every single time, it seems like. So props to him on the recon. He's looking very comfortable with this pick, and that's a big reason why Peaked High School has been able to extend this lead so far. He's 2-1-10 this game, paired with TK Wicked, who's 2-1-11 on the Jarvan.
Definitely big performance there from the jungle and support combo. Have really been leading the charge for Peaked High School throughout this game as Peaked looks to pressure multiple lanes here. They could look for mid and bot. Baron will be up in just a few moments. Peaked possibly looking for the team fight to turn into the Baron, as Jeebus Creebus is going to have to back away from Abandon here. He's going to get slow, but his team is on their way for the support. And Half Sam very strong here. That's a Rod of Ages that hasn't even stacked up completely yet. And Half Sam's already added a Rabadon's Death Cap on top of that. We can't see. We'll see if our observers can double check the stacks on the tier there for the Rise. We'll get that number to you here in a moment if we can. But that is a very scary Rise at this point in the game. They're looking to pressure the bot lane tier 2 here as the Rod of Ages hits its 7th stack. Half Sam very, very powerful at this point. Hasn't even elected to finish his boots, just going so heavy into the ability power. And honestly, he hasn't been punished yet, so I think it's working out very well for the Rise so far.
Yeah, it's just paying off in dividends for him right now. He's almost certainly near the end of that stack on the tier, especially once he finishes up that Archangel staff. It might just turn straight into a Seraph's Embrace as soon as he gets the item, and it's likely going to be around the same time that his Rod of Ages finishes stacking. So when that comes through, Half Sam is going to be a complete monster. He's already huge, sitting 5-1-4 with a 500 gold bounty on his head, and having the Rabadon's Death Cap at 20 minutes, this guy's going to be doing huge damage, and it's just going to get even more dangerous as the game goes on, and potentially more Drakes stack up in their favor or a Baron falls into their hands.
4-1 set up by Peaked High School as they move Johnny Vitro to the mid lane. They've got the 4-man squad bot side here. Titan Gaming trying to defend as best they can, but doesn't seem like the bottom lane is going to stay much longer. Peak needs to wait for this next minion wave, so we'll have to see if T-Train and Stun Daddy can get back in time to continue to protect this tower from the aggression of Peaked. Johnny Beach are going to take some damage here, but hooks back in onto Abandon. backs away and uses the shield to absorb some of that damage. Peaked really looking for this tower. Jeebus Creep is stepping forward to zone away Titan. And they may look for the engage here. There's the flag and drag. The Cataclysm catches to the immediate flash away from Train. Will keep the Caitlyn alive for now. Stun Daddy going to get a good ultimate, but doesn't land the stuns. Glacial Prison actually will not land on anybody. It's just going to get the zone. Beautiful Blade Caller. That's the kill onto a Bandit. And here comes Peaked. Beautiful ultimate from the Nautilus is going to knock up Gluttony in the... Oh, there's the hook onto T-Train. The double kill for Half Sam. And that's a 2 for 0 in favor of Peaked.
Yeah, and that, pretty elongated engage right there. It was... it started off, it looked like it was going to be going in favor of Titan Gaming, but really good job from Johnny Vitro landing the depth charge onto, I believe it was Abandon on the backside, and then T-Train getting hit with the hook immediately during that. Just made it so quick 2 for 0, and now, looking towards this, second Cloud Drake for pickup, and Baron probably in their eyes right now, they don't have a Mountain Drake, haven't picked up a second Infernal Drake, but they have a lot of damage on their carries. Rise, we talked about how fed he is. Zaya's, working on that Zeal item, her second crit item coming in, and that's going to be a lot of Baron threat as they're starting to pick up this damage.
Peaked High School looking very scary. 4 Elemental Drakes, a 10,000 gold lead at 23 minutes. They've got 4 towers to just 0 of Titan Gaming, and now they're looking for the Baron. They're confident in this team fight now that they've got to be ready to go for this objective. They've got a little bit of vision control around the pit, 2 control wards, and Pixel Brush as well as just behind the Baron. I mean that it's not easy for Titan Gaming to get a foothold in the vision game near this objective.
Yeah, and now they pick up the Rift Herald, or the Rift Scuttler for themselves rather, and get even more asserting their vision control. And Stun Daddy, he has forced to walk up, and just a great catch coming in from them onto that.
Yeah, Stun Daddy gonna get a little bit of his own medicine there. Just locked down so quickly by Peaked, and now it's the 4v5, and
they started up Baron.
Yeah, no reason not to at this point. You've got the team fight advantage. You're already winning them 5v5, and now without the Leona, that's just less crowd control and more safety for your backline. Titan.
Yeah, I love what Johnny Vitro is doing right there, keeping the Sejuani as far as he can get them away from the pit, and they're just turning back onto Baron. They're going to be able to bring it down before Gluttony can even get there.
Gluttony now behind the pit, but could get caught out. Zachary going to try and land the charm. Abandon getting into the back line, but Wicked able to zone him away enough, and Peanut Butter's able to grab the kill. Zachary has to back away, but beautiful dredge line catches out T-Train. Half Sam has ulted in behind the back line, and Wicked flash Cataclysm to finish off the Caitlyn. That's 3 more kills for the side of, or 2 more kills I should say, but make it a 3rd here. Gluttony trying to get away, but charmed by the Recon. Locked down by the dredge line, charges over the wall, but may not survive much longer. Zachary having to ult away. Jeebus Creep is here for the lockdown. TK Wicked takes down Stun Daddy once more. Jeebus Creep is trying to get in, won't be able to lock anybody else down, but that's the TP on to the Minion, and here comes Peaked High School. They're going to knock down the mid lane inhibitor easily here, and possibly looking to push for more. They've got Baroned up Minion waves. Bottom lane is dead, but T-Train has respawned.
T-Train just respawned, Stun Daddy coming up in 10 seconds, but it looks like that's not even going to deter Peaked High School. They're just going to look to try and end the game off this, looks like.
They may have the opportunity. One Nexus tower falls. Gluttony is just going to get popped there. Jeebus Creeps gets a knock up on Zachary. He's going to get taken down. The double kill for the Rise. And Peaked High School, they dropped their first game of the day in round robin play, but they're going to respond with a commanding victory here over Titan Gaming, just cleaning up the final kills. T-Train will fall. The quadra kill for Half Sam, and the Nexus soon to follow, with Peaked High School getting a big win here over Titan Gaming.
And Half Sam actually picking up the pentakill at the very end of it. Just, doing so much damage. We talked about how Rise was a scaling pick. He didn't even finish his scaling with his build. It didn't matter. He just got himself a pentakill to finish that game against Titan Gaming, and just complete dominant fashion. Peaked High School just takes over the entire game.
A phenomenal performance there from Peaked High School. A reason why we highlighted them early in the day, sitting at the bottom of the standings with just 3 points, but potential there. Big carry performances there from Half Sam, and even Peanut Butter looking very, very good on the Zaya. And then, as you mentioned there late in the game, so much consistent setup from the Recon. Losing his name now, but TK Wicked and...
Johnny Vitro?
No. Jeebus Creepus. I just remembered. Jeebus Creepus.
Yes.
So many players to keep track of. I know, but Jeebus Creepus and TK Wick doing such a great job of consistently setting peaked up for a lot of these plays, really enabling their carries and allowing them to secure so many kills and build these leads. So really just all across the board. And Johnny Vitro as well, we have to credit him. Going into this Kiana matchup on the Nautilus, we haven't really seen him play tanks, but looked great and getting multiple solo kills, setting so many things up himself with the crowd control. So really, peaked high school top to bottom, a great performance. And now they move into the last round of the round robin today, 1-1. They get that victory over Titan Gaming, and they've got a chance to try and chase down this victory in week number 4.
Yeah, that'd be nice for them. They're sitting kind of last place in the standings in the Western region right now, so those 10 points going to catapult them up. You remember how close they were overall in the Western standings. I believe it was just 10 points between the first and fourth place teams. So putting them right in the middle of that bunch is exactly what they want heading into these later weeks. And again, those last 2 weeks being worth double points means there's still so much room left to work with for these teams. So Peaked High School, going to be happy picking up this win and looking to take one more to complete the week.
Every little bit certainly matters here as we continue on. We are going to throw it to a short break, folks. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. We do have more action, though, coming for you in just a few. We're going to go to a break, but we'll be back in just a little bit. right, folks, welcome back as we look to close out week number 4 of Late Night League. Yeso and Seal here to bring you the cap on all of the action here. We've got one more game of Peaked High School for you here as we will have them versus Grizzly Gaming in the final phase of the round robin here. We can set up the stakes here for you a little bit as well because starting off the day, Grizzly Gaming has gone 2-0 as they just did defeat Alob, and losing their first game, Peaked High School dropped to Alob themselves and then took down Titan Gaming. So currently the standings sit at Grizzly Gaming with a 2-0 record, both Alob and Peaked at 1-1, and then Titan at 0-2. And with the way the matchups shape up now, if Peaked High School gets a win and Alob loses on the other side, they would grab the victory in week 4. Grizzly Gaming just needs a victory to win it outright, and Alob would need a Peaked High School win and then themselves to beat Titan Gaming to take the victory. So a lot at stake here. We'll start at that Peaked High School Grizzly Gaming victory, and then if Peaked wins, we will swap over to Train and Alob to try and finish things off to see how things shake out. But regardless, we will have all the final results here for the West for all of you. So definitely a lot at stake here as we kick it into draft here for Peaked High School and Grizzly Gaming.
Yeah, so both the winners that we've seen from the Western region today in our cast, and going head-to-head on this one, Peaked High School coming off of a pretty demanding win on their own right, and Grizzly Gaming just had a 45-minute just marathon of a game right there, exactly. So momentum just from that, probably Peaked High School feeling a bit better, but Grizzly definitely feeling warm after playing a super long tight game. So hoping for another good one between these two.
Interesting bans here at the start. The Sivir, which was actually very key for, we have to say, it was Tom had switched at the top lane. It was QST playing the Sivir. So we had a bit of a roll stop last game. We'll have to see if that happens here once more for Grizzly Gaming, but that Sivir is a ban away from QST. And then focus on to TK Wicked here. He was a big playmaker for Peaked High School in that last game against Titan. They're hitting his champion pool here early, taking off the J4 and the Hecarim. Little focus to the solo lanes as the Silas is off the board, and we'll have to see what Peaked wants to hear with their last ban in the first phase.
Sadly, we're not going to get the Jarvan versus Sejuani matchup on this one with the Jarvan ban, but almost certainly if Sejuani isn't the third ban coming from Grizzly, that'll pretty much be picked up, I almost guarantee, in the first draft phase.
Yeah, Wicked does play it. He also likes a lot of the Lee Sin and Kha'Zix, but I think you have to take this first pick, Sejuani, if it's available. We'll see what they decide to take. 20 seconds to think about it, but you don't want to give that over to Paper Crusade, because Paper Crusade was very good on the Sejuani earlier today. Was that first game where we were heavily talking about all of the counter ganks, timing things up. So we'll see. But they're going to elect for the Nautilus first pick. Interesting here, wanting to get that pick for Johnny Vitro, who looked very good on it last game around into Abandon's Kiana. So he'll get to run that back once more.
Yeah, so definitely getting on what seems to be a comfort pick for Johnny Vitro, but perhaps giving over that Sejuani to Paper Crusade, another comfort pick in its own right over there. And I think I'm expecting to see a Caitlyn as well. We've seen a lot of priority on the Caitlyn today in the draft. Almost every single game we've been seeing it picked up, and it seems to have been doing its job. It's very lane dominant, and we've seen those Caitlyn lanes getting ahead. And so with a Yuumi, that would actually pair extremely well with Caitlyn. Just having that added range, that added poke in the early game is much more difficult to deal with when you have a Yuumi on your back.
It is going to be the Yuumi Ezreal here, so you still get the poke there, but maybe a little more safety in lane. Obviously, Ezreal, a very hard AD carry to get on top of. And okay, I actually like this from Peaked High School. Going back for the Xayah Rakan for Peanut Butter and Jeebus Kriebus, it was very, very good for them in the last game. And while you probably sacrificed that jungle priority, because if you're Paper Crusade, you almost have to take the Sejuani now because it should be taken off the board if it's left up. But I love Peaked High School getting another comfortable bottom lane this time around. So there's the Sejuani going over, and Grizzly Gaming, I mean, if I'm them, probably look to pinch the jungle pool here even more of Wicked. Take the Lee Sin off the board, possibly the Kha'Zix as well, something else that he plays, but we'll see. They can think about it. They can also look to attack the mid lane as well. Half Sam has looked very good tonight, though. Huge performance on the Rise last time around as they take the Kayn off the board, and it'll be interesting. They'll get counter pick for one lane here because it will have to be one solo lane picked up. But I mean, if you're Grizzly Gaming, you probably just look to take your top laner here, save counter pick there. So Peak High School may not get the counter picks. Will be interesting here to see how things shake out. Aatrox banned away, and the final ban for Grizzly.
Yeah, Aatrox definitely one of the premier picks right now, even after a pretty long series of nerfs, still sitting at the top of that top lane meta pool right now. And knowing that Nautilus is already picked up for Peaked High School, they want to pinch that top lane pool a bit more, get Nautilus in a better matchup so he can perhaps do as much frontlining as he could. He did a great job last game, getting solo kills, 2 times, I believe, against the Kiana, and having this massive frontline, getting good engage off onto the enemy team. So, getting Nautilus in a good spot is exactly what Johnny Vitro wants to do and what Peaked High School is trying to do for the top lane. And there we go, taking the Riven off the table as well, forcing QST, who's likely going to be back to top lane for Grizzly, into a worse matchup.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he wants to select into the Nautilus here. Johnny Vitro definitely held his own into a carry pick in the Kiana last time around, and interesting, they're actually going to give counter pick here. They didn't have to do that. They easily could have taken top lane, hid the counter pick, but maybe thinking there was some sort of priority for Half Sam on the Azir. I'm not sure about that selection there, but that means that Sam can easily just get a counter pick. What's his most comfortable pick into the Azir? He can elect for the Rise, maybe go for the Corki that has been around a lot in the current meta. Gragas going to be picked up here. Could go mid lane, but I would say most likely going to the jungle.
Yeah, I'm assuming that we're going to see the counter pick in that mid lane right here. And I know it's not very likely, but we have seen Azir top come out in the LCK a couple times, so perhaps it could be Azir top, but I'm assuming it's going to be mid lane. And there we go. It looks like it's going to be back to the Rise for halftime. He looked phenomenal on it in the last game, so I love that lock-in from him. Great matchup into the Azir as well. You can get that root off. Azir not very mobile if you can take away that root, and especially if he tries to use that dash or the Shifting Sands as an engage tool, you can just lock him up and get him killed, especially with the CC train coming in with a Rakan, a Gragas. It's going to put Azir in a very difficult position should he try to go for a Shurima shuffle.
Yeah, Peaked High School here running back the exact same composition that we saw from them last game outside of the jungle. They swap out the J4 because of the ban for the Gragas here, and such heavy focus from Grizzly Gaming in terms of banning out junglers. They banned 4 junglers to try and attack TK Wicked's pool, but he still gets the Gragas, which brings a lot to the table that the J4 does. Pretty easy engage, can get very tanky. We'll see what kind of build he goes for. You actually obviously have options to go more tanky with the Center Hulk or go for the Runic Echoes and a little more damage there. So a couple of options there for TK Wicked, but he still brings a lot of the same things to the table and has another opportunity to be that big playmaker and start things off and get the ball rolling for Peaked High School.
Yeah, and just like the Jarvan, Gragas has access to those early ganks. We can see that body slam flash coming in extremely early. Perhaps targeting that immobile top lane or even mid lane for the side of Grizzly Gaming. So I'm looking to see Wicked attack one of those solo lanes and try to get either the Nautilus or the Rise in a good position this game.
And definitely a lot of interesting opportunities here. Really want to see if Sam can repeat the performance that we saw last game on the Rise. He had a great performance. Obviously gets the pentakill at the end of the game to really cap off a great game all across the board for Peaked High School. And he has another opportunity here. As you mentioned, he has the solid matchup into the Azir. So definitely a big opportunity for Sam to continue to be that carry for the side of Peaked High School. And a lot of the same things around him. So very just similar opportunity here for him on the same pick, getting to run it back. So interesting that Grizzly here, seeing the performance of Peaked High School in their last game, they don't really ban, the only pick that they ban away from that game is the J4. They're so focused on attacking the champion pool of Wicked, which is understandable to an extent. He was a big playmaker for them, but they allow them to get a Zyrakan bottom lane once more. Sam back on the Rise that he had a huge performance on last game, and Johnny Vitro on the comfort pick in the Nautilus. So interesting. We'll have to see. I mean, this is either Grizzly Gaming being confident enough in their own play to be able to deal with that composition, or possibly some disrespect here and not recognizing that Peaked High School brought a lot more to the table than just a big performance from Wicked in the last game.
Yeah, and I think that draft has a lot of things to question for the side of Grizzly there. I mean, they did not save their counter pick for the mid lane. They instead allowed counter pick to go both to the jungle and the mid lane for the favor of Grizzly Gaming. So, or for Peaked High School rather. So Peaked High School got the mid lane counter pick. They were able to get themselves, the Rise, exactly what they played last game and what worked so well for them. And I think if I'm looking for Grizzly Gaming to have a road into this game, it's going to be through that top lane. QST is on the Jax. He played it earlier, and he looked very good on it. So I'm assuming that he's going to have pretty good knowledge of this matchup, and the Jax way outscales the Nautilus. It's not like last game where the Kiana was pretty much useless after Nautilus started to build some tank items, because Jax, once he finishes the Triforce, once he gets the Tiamat, he's going to be able to win these trades against the Nautilus, especially with that Conqueror stacking up. So I'm looking for that Jax to be a really big split push threat as the game starts to continue forward. And perhaps, the Rise might be able to deal with the Jax, but I don't think anyone else on the side of Peaked High School is going to be able to deal with QST on this Jax.
Yeah, it'll really heavily be then on Wicked, on the Gragas. This may be a game where you want to switch up that gank priority, right? Ezreal Yuumi is going to be not an easy lane to gank. Ezreal is very safe, and you get a ton of sustain from the Yuumi that's going to be hard to kill him. So I'd like to see, if I'm Peaked High School, shift that priority to the top lane. You get the Rise, who has the teleport and can move up there as well, and move the Gragas up to the top side. Try and kill that Jax. Keep him down early. Don't let him get going, and just stave off that power. If you can get the Nautilus moving, get him tanky, get him to the point where, hey, you know what? You talk about the Jax starts to take over after a little while. If you can get a couple of kills early on the Jax, then that time frame for the Nautilus to control the top lane just grows. And if you can maybe even get a tower out of that, that's huge. Because then if you can lane swap and get the Xayah Rakan into the Jax possibly, that would be extremely good for the side of Peaked High School to push towards a win. But do have to give respect where it's due. Grizzly Gaming has been a good team throughout this season, and they're one of those teams trying to chase down a lob up near the top of the standings. So these are no slouches coming in. They're on some great picks, right? You get the comfort pick in the Jax and the Sejuani. The Yuumi looked good in the last game there in the bottom lane for Grizzly Gaming, and the Azir of big staple in the meta currently. So, while we may not like that everything that was given back over to Peaked High School because of the way that they performed in the last game, Grizzly Gaming still gets a lot of what they probably want to play.
Yeah, they have a lot in their draft right now, and I think the one thing that you're looking for is, some casters would say this is the dangerous S word, it's scaling. They have a lot of scaling on their team. Jackson, Azir, not very useful in the early game. Azir, perhaps one of the worst mid laners, pre-20 minutes. But as he starts to get some items under his belt, get that attack speed and AP up, he's going to be a huge DPS threat during the rest of the game. And, even matching or perhaps exceeding the DPS from that Rise, who's also, no slouch in the scaling department either. But I think I'm looking at, the scaling for Grizzly looking a lot better than the side for Peaked High School.
Well, a lot at stake here between these two teams. A win for Grizzly Gaming secures them the title here in week number 4 in the Central Region, and 10 points. Peaked needs a win and some help from Titan Gaming, their opponents from last game. Meanwhile, Alab need the W and are rooting. Big fans of Peaked High School in this game. Tons at stake here as we close out week number 4 with the final part of the round robin here in the Western region. We saw the Titans of the Central region fall as Ferocious Versions were able to take out Indeed. Could one of these teams do it to Alab here in week number 4? As a perfect game to reference it with the Azir here. The sands are shifting in Late Night League in both regions, as teams are coming out to challenge the top contenders from both sides of the Late Night League landscape. Both junglers starting on their respective red buffs, getting the leash, and most likely going to go for full clears here, both heading to their Krugs immediately after, and the poke immediately starts from the Grizzly Gaming bottom lane.
Yeah, and that's a very early push going on since they didn't have to leash. The Sejuani started at that red buff on top side for Grizzly Gaming. So Ezreal and Yuumi, they get that push for level 2, because if Xayah and Rakan hit that level 2 first, they can all in before Ezreal can even get access to the arcane shifts and at least blow a flash, if not pick up a kill of their own.
Johnny Vision are going to take a lot of damage here from QST. He's holding on to the dredge line. Ends up going down to about 100 health there as QST playing very aggressively on the Jax. We'll get the push going. The opportunity is there for Johnny Vitro if he can land a clutch dredge line near tower range to maybe try and trade back into QST, but right now, Jax certainly has control of this lane.
Yeah, both of them do have the corrupting pot, so we'll see them sustain up quite a bit. But with the QST, starting the push early and Sejuani nearing this top side, you could look at a potential tower dive onto this Nautilus. And it's very dangerous going to try and tower dive a Nautilus with Aftershock and a big beefy shield on his W, but it could end up paying off in dividends if it can succeed, because QST getting accelerated in that build would put him in a very good spot matchup-wise against the Nautilus, because Jax, as soon as he finishes that Triforce, there's not really much the Nautilus could do. Nautilus is not going to be able to out-trade him unless he can have access to someone else on his team or help from the turret itself.
Well, all three lanes pushing for Grizzly Gaming here in the early game. And it means that an easy invade there for Paper Crusade to get in and steal the blue buff of TK Wicked. And that means an easy 3 buff here for Paper Crusade. Rough start for the peaked high school jungler. Eating so many bans and then having to deal with a Sejuani at level 2 coming into your jungle to steal away that blue buff. Very integral to Agragas. One thing I love here, we do have to note, Wicked taking the Predator. Predator is honestly such a fun rune to take on junglers. You see it a lot on the Skarner. You get those boots and you just come running into a lane. Paper Crusade up here on a ward, actually going to be spotted out. Looks like Wicked is setting up for a counter gang. He's waiting on the other side of the wall. Doesn't have the blast cone yet, but still can body slam over the wall. But that would mean he brings no CC, or no hard CC at least, to the fight.
How about what he does have is he has already picked up the boots, so he has access to the Predator now, because normally, you see this early in the game, you wouldn't expect the Gragas to have the boots and have access to the Predator this early, but it's different with the way Wicked had gone for the early back, and sure, he lost his blue buff off of going for the back on that, but it's kind of deterring Paper Crusade from trying to go for that gank, knowing that there could be a Gragas with Predator coming for the counter gank, and you can't really match that damage, because Predator odds has a lot of damage to Gragas' pool on this one.
Good trade there for Johnny Vitro. Starting with the dredge line and getting that early Aftershock proc is certainly key for this Nautilus, as Thomas actually taking a lot of damage in his own jungle. Wicked may go in here waiting for the body slam. The Rise Q will miss. Still more damage there from Wicked. And here comes Paper Crusade. This is risky. Flashing away. Has the Aftershock to stay alive for now. And now in the bottom lane, getting some action as well. That was risky from the Grizzly Gaming jungler. Jeebus Creep is going to take some damage there. Ignite ticking onto Peanut Butter. Forced the flash away from El Oso. Jeebus Creep is taking a lot of damage as well. There's the Q from the Yuumi. And that will finish it off. First blood there for Humming Ace.
So yeah, fighting across the map on this one. We saw it top lane, saw it mid lane. Junglers flexing in between those two, and the bot lane is where First Blood ends up going over. And it's actually to the Ezreal Yuumi, and you wouldn't expect that when Zyra Khan is the pair on the other side. Zyra Khan typically seen as one of those, menacing kill lane duo bots. But here, the Ezreal and the Yuumi, were able to land, enough consistent poke, be able to poke down the Zyra and the Rakan and pick up First Blood for themselves onto Jeebus Creebus in the bot lane.
Peaked High School here also going to lose a tower plate. Yep, L07 Humming Ace will be able to grab that gold. And back away. Wicked did use his first Predator proc, trying to chase down Tom. Bear with us just a moment here, folks. Some technical difficulties. We're going to have to pause the game here, so bear with us for just a moment. Going to come back to the caster desk. And we've seen in this early game so far, good stuff from the junglers, both trying to apply pressure. We see the Sejuani getting the early invade to steal away the blue buff, so putting Wicked behind there early, but Wicked immediately responding, trying to get a counter gank going topside. Doesn't materialize because Johnny Vitro isn't quite able to bait out the Sejuani to go in, but still retreats, goes over and goes for a bit of an invade, able to catch out Tom as well as the Sejuani, force out a flash there. So both of these junglers feeling each other right now, trading some pressure, getting things moving, and they're really trying to put their stamp on this early game so far.
Yeah, it feels like half Sam. Again, we saw him trying to push Tom back into his own red side jungle. even though he's playing the scaling pick in the Azir, or in the Rise rather, he's not playing like a scaling champion. He's playing aggressive. He's playing to win lane, pick up kills. So I'm looking to see what Half-Sam does as he's starting to approach the level 6, get access to the Realm Warp, see what he's going to do, see if he tries to impact perhaps the bot lane, get his bot lane a bit more in favor since they started to fall behind against the Ezreal Yuumi, or maybe just go back towards the top lane and see if they can shut down the Jax, because Jax he's up in CS right now. He was playing those early game pretty well, and didn't see any kills going over during those early ganks, but Jax is going to be pretty happy in that matchup. He's not really under too much threat unless Half-Sam can do something about it.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's some opportunities there for the Rise to get moving. And then in the bottom lane, we get the first blood, as you mentioned, from the Ezreal Yuumi. Not the lane you would typically expect that from, right? You're playing into the Xayah Rakan as well, which, as you mentioned, a very oppressive dual lane, can have a ton of kill pressure, especially once you hit level 2, get access to the Grand Entrance on the Rakan. There's so much proactivity there once you have access to that ability, but the poke just being so oppressive here from the bottom lane of Grizzly Gaming, and they just are able to poke out to the point where one final Q coming out from the Yuumi is able to finish off a kill. So far the Xayah Rakan, there's some sustain in that lane through the Q, the feather of the Rakan, but it hasn't been enough so far, and really we're seeing the Xayah Rakan on its back foot at this point.
Yeah, and that's typically not a spot where you would see the Xayah Rakan. So Ezreal and Yuumi having the stronger mid game, definitely compared to the Xayah Rakan, means that they're already accelerated in that because of that early kill going on and the turret plate going down early. So if they can continue this bot lane pressure, get themselves some elemental drakes, proceed to maybe take down turret, swap towards the top lane, that could put themselves in a really good spot, and perhaps even shut down the Xayah Rakan lane even more if they can deny them more farm, deny them even access as well to the elemental drakes, because I think that's going to be where they try to fight around since they do have the priority in the bot lane.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing we talked about in breaking down champions, like that maybe the opportunity for Peaked High School with the way the lanes shook out in draft for bottom lane, that they may go, okay, we'll just leave the bottom lane on its own. We don't need to try and snowball them down there. They should be just fine. We can go up to the top lane and try to deal with the Jax. But now, with the Ezreal Yuumi getting a good kill early, getting first blood, and looking like they won't really be slowing down anytime soon, it could really split the focus here. Maybe they can't focus as much on the top lane because this Ezreal could really get moving. And as you mentioned, hitting that mid-game power spike can become a menace here. Thank you for bearing with us, folks. Able to solve those minor technical difficulties, and we are right back into the game as we hit the 7-minute mark here. About a 2,000 gold lead for Grizzly Gaming here in the early game, and Half-Sam going to take some damage here, getting collapsed on by QST. There is the ultimate from the Azir. Sam cannot get away. That's Tom going to be able to grab the kill, and a good collapse as the roam from QST locks up a kill on the Rise.
Yeah, really smart roam from him, knowing that Half-Sam used the flash earlier, committed it, trying to take down Tom on that red side invade that they went for, and gets caught out overextending, not expecting QST be coming from that angle, and just really return kill coming in right there.
Good job from El Oso, timing the arcane shift to get away from the Grand Entrance of Jeebus Kriebus there as the Xayah Rakan try to trade back as the poke continues to come out from the Ezreal Yuumi lane. And the other really impressive thing about this bottom lane is what you see a lot with AD carries paired up with Yuumi is if you have a Yuumi with you, the Yuumi never takes flash. You're almost always taking ignite and then either heal or exhaust depending on what lane you're playing into. And that always frees up your AD carry to take teleport. And that means that when Ezreal, already a champion that likes to take teleport in the bottom lane if it's possible, but that means that El Oso just has so much more lane presence. It's so much more difficult to push him out of lane because you can make him back, but he's going to be able to teleport right back to lane, and that meant that they were able to get the first blood. El Oso backs the base and is immediately able to teleport back into lane and maintain that pressure. He's already built a near 20 CS lead, which is only looking to grow here as they continue to pressure in this lane.
Yeah, and having to play into the Ezreal Yuumi, Peanut Butter already opted to go for the Executioner's Calling, is forgoing trying to get that early Essence Reaver and just wants to get that healing reduction in place so that it's not as oppressive to play against the ridiculous amount of healing coming out from the Zoomies on the Yuumi. So right now, that's a really quick Executioner's Calling. That's an 800 gold sink that's already in there, and that's
Peanut
just
Butter
barely missing out on that. Wow, great juke from Peanut Butter on that, but he's definitely on the back foot this game, having to have gone for that 800 gold sync is very akin to, a Skarner attacks or Malzahar attacks, whereas if they're in the game, you have to pick yourself up QSS.
I don't know about that ult there from Tom. QST is actually going to take a lot of damage. Good ultimate there from Wicked. QST flashing away from danger there, but Tom totally whiffing on the shifting sands there, and that means that Wicked is just able to walk away from that aggression. Jeebus Creep is going to take more poke there in the bottom lane as Grizzly Gaming continues to try and pressure out the Xayah Rakan.
Yeah, I'm assuming that Tom probably thought that the Gragas was going to try to body slam forward at that point, but Gragas instead just kept walking, so the Shurima shuffle didn't end up shuffling anything. Gragas just got to waltz right through, and then the ultimate was good coming in from him.
Oh, this is the big brain play in the bottom lane. The teleport from Johnny Vitro. Humming Ace trying to float away here, looking not to give away any more assists, but that's still the double kill for Peanut Butter. Johnny Vitro, a beautiful ward there from Jeebus Creepus, setting up the teleport down from the Nautilus, and they're able to get 2 kills in the bottom lane. They'll also be able to rotate up and take a free Cloud Drake here, and the response will be way too late from the jungler of Grizzly Gaming, as Paper Crusade nowhere nearby to assist in this play. Up on the top side instead, trying to take down tower plates, and that means the Cloud Drake goes to peaked.
Yeah, actually, I don't like what Paper Crusade tried to do there. He tried to just go for a tower plate when he should have just opted straight for the Rift Herald at that time, and now he's kind of just lucky that Peaked High School is deciding to back after taking the Cloud Drake for themselves, because they could have just ran straight towards Rift Herald and deterred Grizzly Gaming from picking up that objective for themselves, but instead, they're just going to pick it up for free after just a simple reset coming in from Peaked High School, and just honestly lucky that they didn't have vision on the objective there.
Yeah, it really just seems like Peaked High School electing to take the safe play here in just looking to reset, as well as just, lack of early game vision around that area of the map, so they don't recognize the Rift Herald's being taken. It is going to be locked down there by Grizzly Gaming, so they will at least trade a neutral objective here. Miss there from Jeebus Creepus on the grand entrance. They'll also able to back away with Humming Ace in tow.
And one thing that we didn't note earlier actually was that TP play. It was against the lane that was doing the best for Grizzly Gaming at this point. They had taken down so many turret plays on their own, and now the Rift Herald is actually eating that up in the top lane as well. But that helped Peanut Butter get right back into the game, because he was very far behind on this Xayah lane. He was down 2 kills. He was down a ton of CS, and now he's much more evened up after that incredible TP play coming in from Johnny Vitro.
And one thing we have to note there is actually the Rift Herald is not able to secure that tower. Wicked and Johnny Vitro are able to get up to the top lane quick enough to take out the Rift Herald and save that tier 1 tower. So they still have a lot of pressure being forced against them, but they still have yet to give up that first tower. So an opportunity, if they can get the right play, to be able to secure that first tower bonus. Down just over 3,000 gold here in the early game, nearing that 13-minute mark, and that means that tower plates will drop in just over a minute here. Jeebus Creep is looking to go in. Also still on point with the arcane shifts.
Yeah, and that's one thing that it's actually kind of a consolation prize, that yes, they didn't get the turret, but they got a ton of turret plates off of that play. And again, it's 13 minutes right now, so getting a ton, they get all 5 turret plates in top lane because of that Rift Herald usage early. And now with the presence of them on the bot side, they're probably going to pick up some there as well.
QSD able to get 1 kill there onto Wicked, and he is going to get collapsed on, though, as Half Sam has gotten up here with the ultimate. Johnny Vitro needs to lock down the Jax here, and yes, he will go down. Half Sam able to get that last auto attack. Good on Johnny Vitro, giving that over to the Rise, recognizing that that is the carry they want to put the gold on. But now Grizzly Gaming finally responding in the tower department, able to take down the top tower thanks to QST, and with Paper Crusade heading down to the bot lane, they are able to secure the bot lane tier 1 as well, as Half Sam continues to hold the mid lane.
Yeah, and you'll absolutely take that trade for Grizzly Gaming, your top laner for 2 turrets, and that's all the turret plates are still available. That's a ton of gold in their pockets, and you can see that in the gold lead right now. They're already 5k gold up, and it's not even 14 minutes in the game yet.
Grizzly Gaming building a huge lead, tied in kills, but as you mentioned, that 2-tower lead, plus significant farm advantages on multiple parts of the map, as well as we have to mention the extra goal you're getting from the tower plates has meant a very significant gold lead for Grizzly Gaming here at 14 minutes. So they're looking very, very good. You talk about the scaling on their composition earlier, and if you're getting this much gold early and building on this lead, you're going to feel very good about having that scaling in your composition.
Oh, and actually, I just got a peek at Jax's build there. I love it so far. He picked himself up a Wit's End. That means that Nautilus is not going to have any kill threat at all in a solo kill in this game. And Wicked is not going to be able to help him with a gank. Half Sam isn't going to be able to help him with just a quick, easy roam. He has a ton of MR stacked already, and sure, it's going to delay his Trinity Force a bit, but it's meaning that he's going to already be that like side lane split push threat as soon as they start to open up the map a bit. And with the top turret already down, he's setting himself up in a long lane with no real answer to him because the only AD threat is all the way on the other side of the map still.
Definitely a good adaptation there from the Jax. Jeebus Kriebus continuing to try and find any engage he can, recognizing that he can play aggressive on this recon pick. As long as he has a teammate nearby to battle dance back to, he can try to get that aggressive grand entrance as often as he likes. Wicked having to back away as Grizzly Gaming trying to zone peeked away from the Drake pit. Johnny Vitro going to take quite a bit of damage here. He does have the minion wave dealing damage back towards the Jax, and he is going to retreat to the safety of his tower for the time being. El also trying to clear out this wave in mid lane and put some pressure on that mid lane tier 1. Ocean Drake has been started by Grizzly Gaming, and the bottom lane will rotate over to try and assist. And really, Grizzly Gaming playing very clean right now, just picking Peaked apart in terms of the macro game, and it means that we have a game at 16 minutes with only 6 kills split evenly between the teams, and yet a very impressive near 6,000 gold lead for Grizzly Gaming as they just continue to make all the right plays.
Yeah, and a lot of that kind of spawned off of Peaked High School taking that Cloud Drake early and then not responding in time, so that Grizzly Gaming was able to pick up that Rift Arrow for themselves, get the charge on top lane, get that turret down while turret plates were still available, and then with the kills they got in bot lane early and the pressure they had from the jungler, they were able to take down the bot lane turret as well, and that's 5 or 10 total gold plates going down just in between those two lanes. That's a lot of gold sitting in their pockets, and that's why they already have a 6K, almost a 7K gold lead now for themselves.
Tom in trouble here, isn't going to be able to shift away as Half Sam has arrived here as well. Azir is going to go down the shutdown gold, going to go over to Wicked there, so they get 1 kill, but still Grizzly able to take down another tower in the mid lane. QST going to take a tower shot here, but doesn't mind too much at this point. And Grizzly Gaming has just so much control over the map. They're able to put so many wards down. Half Sam is going to get stunned here by the Yuumi, and that is actually going to finish off the Rise here. El also going to take some damage, and Wicked actually able to trade back as Paper Crusade was tanking the tower there. Johnny Vitro has to be careful here, is going to get stunned, uses the hook to try and get those Aftershock stats, but it's not going to be enough as QST is going to take him down for the solo kill.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure how Paper Crusade took aggro on that. I thought they still had the minions there, but that was really lucky for the side of Peaked High School. They were able to trade that one back, but overall it's still a 2-for-1 in favor of Grizzly Gaming on that.
Grizzly continue to add more gold to their stores. Up 6,500 gold. Even in Elemental Drakes in terms of number, the Ocean Drake for Grizzly Gaming in the Cloud for Peaked High School as QST continues to try to pressure this side lane tower, getting a good amount of damage onto the tier 2 as El Oso and Humming Ace are back down in the bottom lane. And Half Sam just trying to scale up on this Rise. Wicked has not had near the effect in this game that we saw from him on the J4 in the previous game against Titan. It doesn't help that his lanes have been, really he's had 3 losing lanes so far in terms of the way things have played out. And that's just made it rough because then it's so much easier when all 3 of your lanes have priority to invade and pressure the opposing jungler, and Paper Crusade has done so. He's been moving around the map, joining up with his lanes as often as possible, and Wicked has just always been on the back foot. So
And if you remember, I mean, this game started off with Paper Crusade getting 3 buffs over the Grags and taking away that kind of essential blue buff, as well as just the draft phase already targeting Wicked in the champ pool for jungle bans coming through, kind of forcing him onto the Gragas, which I guess isn't nearly as high priority of a pick for him. You know, we saw him have great success with the Jarvan in the last game, but the Gragas seems it's been on the back foot a bit in this game, and not through any fault of his own. It's been great play coming from Paper Crusade, as well as just that draft kind of targeting him down. But it's just really smart from Grizzly Gaming to kind of put him in that kind of a situation.
We'll have to see if Wicked and Peaked High School can pull themselves out of this hole. They're going to need some mini miracles here, as Tom is actually going to take a lot of damage here. He's going to take another tower shot. The shield keeping him alive for now, but there's the ultimate from Wicked, going to take down the kill, and Tom will fall. Now Half Sam in the sideline trying to deal with QST here. QST wants to chase him down. Half Sam, can he escape? He will not. Flash Q from QST will knock down the Rise, and Half Sam with his 3rd death. He has that Rod of Ages stacking up in the tier as well, able to finish off half of an item here, but really Half Sam struggling a bit at this point, not nearly as big as he was in the last game, down about 45 CS at this point in the game, and he, as well as Wicked, have not been able to find quite the foothold in this game that they needed. Johnny Vitro trying to lock down QST, forced to flash away. A lot of damage coming from El Oso, and QST going to grab the kill there onto the Nautilus here, as things are really starting to fall apart for Peaked High School.
And that was Johnny Vitro trying to make a TP play. He tried to get the flank off behind the team, but it seemed like Peanut Butter just got picked off by the Ezreal and Yuumi on their own, so he just TP'd into essentially 4 members with no backup.
Good engage here from Jeebus Creepus, but there's just no follow-up at this point. Wicked going to try and get in and get a little bit of damage here, but you do have to note he did end up going for the Runic Echoes build, so a little bit more damage here from the Gragas. Not sure if that's what they needed. I probably would have preferred Aftershock. Just be more of that frontline focus on the crowd control and trying to lock people down, and because you have enough damage coming out from Azaya and Rise in your composition, so I don't know if I like the decision there, but still, gotta live with that at this point.
Yeah, I think it would have opened up a lot more opportunity for them if he had gone with like Aftershock and Cinderhulk perhaps. But still having the damage threat means that Tom and Elos are going to have to play a lot more safer. They can't just run up and go for turret takes when they don't have the vision control around objectives and stuff. So if Wicked can find a potential flank onto them, he can still kill them, even though he is behind in gold. He still has that damage threat in his back seat right now.
Ooh, El Oso getting a lot of damage, and the beautiful ult there from the Yuumi will help take down Peanut Butter. As another kill goes to Grizzly Gaming. The kill's starting to rack up a little bit here. Not quite at the numbers we saw last game, but still 10-6 in Grizzly Gaming's favor, and they're trying to lock things down in multiple lanes. Wicked trying to get the kill onto QST, but QST still going to be able to get in and take down the Gragas. Jeebus Creepus retreating along with Johnny Vitro as they will escape from pressure, but Peanut Butter and Wicked both fall, and Grizzly Gaming now going to go back over to the Baron.
Yeah, and with an Azir, that's a lot of Baron threat even this early in the game without Mountain Drake or an Infernal. They have so much damage threat just from the Ezreal and the Azir. They're going to be able to take this down, and because they were able to poke out so many members, even though they only picked up 1 kill in that exchange, it's going to allow them to pick up the Baron for themselves.
Baron is trivial at this point for Grizzly Gaming, easily taking that one down with the Azir. They'll be able to back and possibly look to end the game here. Up 13,000 gold, 5 towers to 0, and they really have complete control of the map. So this game is entirely up to Grizzly Gaming, as they may head down to the bottom lane here.
Let's get the entire view of Summer's Rift right here. I like it.
We're taking a tour, guys. Enjoy the show. Shout out to our producers in the back. Appreciate all the hard work that they put in the long hours. All of them kicking butt and making the stream look pretty.
And now we get the slow pan back towards the nexus of Grizzly Gaming.
We're just the pretty faces in front of the camera. We do zero of the work.
Exactly.
We just come here and shout about video games. So props to everybody behind the glass over there. But now back to the game. Grizzly Gaming with that Baron buff now, looking to dot the I's and cross the T's here on a victory in week number 4. This would be big for Grizzly Gaming as they try to chase down Alob in the standings. 10 points would certainly go a long way. Top inhibitor under threat. Wicked having to back away, body slam away will not get him far enough from the Jax, and QST able to grab that kill onto the Gragas. Now going to be able to easily take down this top lane inhibitor, just beating away at it. Going to get the stun, jumps in onto the Xayah, and down goes Peanut Butter. Here comes Grizzly Gaming. This could be it. They've got the Baroned up minions. Johnny Vitro going to get the depth charge onto Paper Crusade, but the Sejuani is so tanky. There's the ultimate coming out from the Yumi. Going to lock down Johnny Vitro for now. QST getting a lot of sustain. Still alive. Jeebus Creepus goes down to LO, so Johnny Vitro soon to follow. Tom grabs the kill. That's 4 dead. Half Sam is all that is left, but it won't be enough of a defense. Peaked High School will fall, and a dominant performance from Grizzly Gaming as they'll clean up another kill or two here at the end. Wicked gonna go down. The stopwatch will not save him. The double kill for El Oso, and Grizzly Gaming take the 3-0, and they'll take the victory in the West in week number 4.
Yeah, 10 points in Grizzly Gaming's pocket. I believe that's actually going to put them back in first place in the West. And that's pretty much exactly where they want to be with 4 weeks left of the season. And even with the last 2 weeks being double points, they're going to be in a great position because of this win. And just a clean game overall. They looked very solid in each role. And they kind of had peaked High School play on the back foot the entire game, coming from that champ select, already targeting Wicked in that jungle pool, and then starting off the game with 3 buffing him, setting Sejuani down, stealing the blue buff from the Gragas. And that's pretty much his essential buff. He doesn't need the red buff as much. So already putting him off on the back foot and just kind of setting the pace of the game for themselves, picking up the objectives they needed to, and taking so many turret plates and just snowballed that all into a win for themselves.
Yeah, really, so much pressure coming out from Grizzly Gaming in this game, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I'd have to go back and watch the VOD, but it really felt like Peaked High School never really crossed the midpoint on the map there. So really just a ton of pressure there. We are going to throw it to a short break, but when we return, we'll have more Late Night League action for you folks, so stick with us.